Hey boos, in this video, I give commentary based on my opinion. Nothing is to be taken as factual. We are just here to have conversation. We don't expose and we don't sip tea on this channel. I'm giving you real talk straight, no chaser. Let's see if you can handle it.
Cause I'm a boss. I haven't done anything for you to be proud of.
Of course you have. You are marrying a man who can support you.
Good evening. I'm back. So we are here for part 2. Who the F did I almost marry? Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right in. I don't even want to waste your time because we got a lot to get through. So let's go ahead and get started really quick. Let me go ahead and share the screen. Okay. So we left off at the part where she got pregnant by him. And I want to say this, and I am saying this with compassion, but I am going to say it. Whenever you threaten a man by saying things like, oh, I'm going to leave you, I'm going to leave you, you should never do that. You should just leave quietly, silently. I really believe that is the only reason I don't have any children. I don't have any children. I have always left quietly. I've never made an announcement. I never said anything. I honestly always just disappear very quietly, very much classy. I never announced it. And the reason is because I do believe men can trap you with a child. And also it could be dangerous as well. It can actually be dangerous for you to threaten a man with leaving, because then he could have a whole motive against you and you not know anything about that. So ladies, when you leave, you say nothing. Okay? When you leave, you say nothing. You just disappear one day. Honestly, if you can. Now, I think it's harder if you're married. I think it's harder if you're married and you have legal obligations, financial obligations, and things like that. But if this is just a boyfriend, or if this is just the man that you were dealing with, never threaten a man you're leaving before you leave. Just leave. So let's get into this. Let me speed it up a little bit.
Almost Married, NFL edition, part 15. So, yeah, I'm now pregnant. This other woman is 6 months pregnant ahead of me. And this is probably every woman's worst nightmare. I'd always been a person who tracked my schedule, and I was always super regular. I don't know if it was just the extreme stress of this particular time period. I was even out of town during what was supposed to be my fertile window. And I don't know, I guess my ovulation was delayed. I have no clue. But that was the cycle that, unfortunately, I had gotten pregnant. I'd only slept with him just a couple of times. Each time I did, I felt absolutely horrible. And I'll go into that in a little bit. We had gone to a couples therapy a couple weeks after I had found out about the affair baby. This therapy session didn't end up going super well. And if anyone's ever tried to do any kind of therapy with a narcissist, knows what that looks like. And it ended up being weaponized against me by him. And during that initial appointment, the weirdest thing happened there. And it's something that I think about from time to time. The therapist had asked me what it was that I liked about Will. And so I started rambling off these different things that I liked about him, because despite all of these shitty things that he had been doing, he still had good qualities about him, or good things that I saw in him. And anybody who's been in this kind of relationship knows what I mean. Then the question was turned to him, and he's sitting there. I'm sitting there. The therapist is sitting there. And you can literally see him thinking and he's conflicted. And this goes on for like 2 minutes. And this felt like an eternity. I mean, just deadly silent, this guy clearly like working through some things. And God, like I felt so embarrassed in that moment because I'm like, here I am. This guy's done all this shit to me. And he's sitting here and he's so conflicted and he cannot even come up with like one thing that he likes about me. And so anyhow, after a long pause, he says,
Damn.
She's the greatest woman that I've ever known. The way that she is with people, who she is, she's the best woman I've ever met. And to this day, like, I'll never know if that was manipulation, if it was actual truth. And that's why I kind of think about it on some like time to time, because like it's just one of those things that I'll fully never understand. We were supposed to have our second couples therapy appointment right after I had found out that I was pregnant. And by this point, I had ended things, like I was done. And so I took this running list that my therapist had advised me to write, and I had copied and pasted and sent an email to our couples therapist. And I let them know, like, at this point, like, I'm not coming anymore. His behavior is completely just atrocious at this point. And I had hoped, and I said this in the email, that he could go over these point by point with Will. And like, he needed help. I mean, because this was so bad. And I had hoped for him that he had continued seeing this guy, which he didn't, of course. Like, I mean, I don't think that they want to deal with the reality of what they are or what they've done. And I know for the rest of the time that we were together or I was around him and in his space, he had never gone back to therapy again that I know of. Okay, so I've got my iPad here and I'm going to list the different things that happened during this time period that I'd included in this email to our couples therapist. Also listed in this email were a list of 10 non-negotiables that I had given to Will. This was during the hysterical bonding period. And I think I knew for sure that he was not going to do any of these, even though they were very simple. But I still gave him this list just to see if he could. And if anything, it was good for me because it truly showed me how little he was willing to do to repair things. And it was a big wake-up call when such simple things weren't done. So let's go over these. 1, delete and block messages, pictures, and phone numbers from anyone he had behaved horribly with or is tempted to behave that way with, even those he had just flirted with. So, and at this time, Will had said that this was done, but I received no proof or had been able to see his phone for myself to see if that was done. 2, delete all pictures of the other baby mama on his phone. He untagged one picture on his Instagram, but again, no clue about the phone. Delete and block all of these same girls on the social media platforms. He said he's done that, but his friend count on Facebook had only dropped by 5 people. The other baby mama is still on all of his social media platforms. And again, we all know that it was way more than 5 people. Another one, number 4, was to list us in a relationship on Facebook. He did this at first, but it was set to private. So only us could see this. It took several days and several arguments to get him to change it to public, and the whole exchange felt awful. Number 5, he had to change his profile picture to something of us. At that point, it was not done. He did end up doing that after I had ended things, but by that point, like, way too late. Number 6, he needed to semi-regularly post about us on social media because this is how he was able to cheat, right? Some of you guys have already picked up that if you Google him, it still shows that he's married to his original wife and he only has 3 kids. And with him not showing me on his social media, he was able to easily share that he was single. Number 7, told that I was loved on a regular basis. I think he said it once and that was it. Give compliments on a regular basis. And again, he really didn't do this. And I wasn't looking to be gassed up all the time. That's not what it was about. At this point in time, my self-esteem was completely in the toilet. And a lot of times, he's not a good compliment giver to begin with. And 2, like, he would get ready and it would be just like radio silence. So I just needed, at that time, something from him. Number 9, I needed to be given free access to all of his devices. And that was never done. And this...
She was really trying to work with this man, but y'all, I have to be honest. I think my pride wouldn't let me do anything like this. And the reason is because it's like, and like some of the stuff that she was requiring of him is, to me, just bare minimum. I don't think it was, it's low-key respect is what she is creating this list for. I don't know. My pride wouldn't allow me to sit down and do this. I would feel like I'm begging or pleading or wanting something or demanding something that I don't feel like I should have to demand, you know. And it really comes across like he didn't like her. He was just using her. That's what it comes across as. And the list that she created is it just seems like someone would want to, like, he should want to do those things because he loves her, he likes her, they're a friend at bare minimum. You know, it just seems like it's a lot. It's a lot for her to create this list.
Felt like he was having a double life. He told me once that he wasn't going to let me see his phone just because I had asked to see it. And then another time was because he didn't want me to see the messages he had with this other baby mama. And to me, this felt like clearly he had something to hide when it came to her. And obviously that was extremely damaging. And also a non-negotiable was to go to personal therapy and couples therapy. And I said, he needs serious help. And that is so true, because by this point, I mean, his behaviors, this is what I wrote. I said, his all about me behavior, manipulation tactics, his I can do anything and everything better than you attitude, even on things that have nothing to do with him or only has basic knowledge of, but still thinks he can or knows how to do better, using self-deprecating remarks about himself to appear humble or fish for ego-boosting comments. He did this a lot. Triangulating people. He constantly liked to triangulate me with his ex-wife, which I never understood. You would think you'd want people to get along and, you know, have a synergistic family, but instead he was pitting people against each other. And this is a very common narcissist tactic. Pre-planning how he was going to move people around and things like he was playing a game of chess, and he had a severe lack of empathy. So as you can see, those things were pretty simple and pretty basic for him to do. And again, I'm happy that I did give him that list because it was a huge turning point for me when he wasn't able to do such small and basic things. I'm running out of time on this one. So the next time I'm going to go over all of these bullet point behaviors because they are truly wild and truly shocking. Who the fuck did I almost marry?
I also want to say this. If you've ever been in a relationship with a narcissist, I really don't think they like anyone but themselves. I don't think it's you personally. I don't think it's, oh, I wasn't this or I wasn't that. I really think narcs don't like anyone but themselves. They may come across like they do, and it's just manipulation to really get what they want, but they really don't like anyone but themselves. They look at you as someone that they can use. You're really like supply for them, and that's it. But it doesn't go beyond that. I think one of the hardest things I had to heal from narcissistic abuse was accepting the fact that I was never loved, I was never liked, and the relationship was never real. And that was something that was hard for me to accept, but I had to accept it because if not, then I was going to be sucked back into the fantasy that he had created. And it was just based off of him getting what he wanted and me being used, really. And it was never love. It was never like, it was never friendship. It was nothing. Like, it was absolutely nothing. And so that's how I was able to heal from narcissistic abuse, was accepting that it was just all a game. You know, it was all a sick, twisted game that I was a part of, and I just didn't know. So, and it was easier to let the relationship go. It was easy to let the memories go. It was easier to let the good times go. It was easier to let the planned future go. Like, it was just easier letting those things go once I accepted that it was never real. It was just a sick, twisted game, honestly, like some weird, sick, twisted game. And that's why I think if you really did go through real narcissistic abuse, I think some of them are sociopaths too. Like, they study you really well. They know what you like. They know what you're into. They know what you expect, and they will dangle that in front of you like a carrot, and they won't give it to you, but they will string you along because you are literally their supply. And that was just my experience, but it helped me heal. It helped me heal. They are really good actors. Another thing that I noticed too, when you're dealing with a narc, they will mirror your emotions. They will mirror your feelings. They will mirror things back to you. And it's not them. Like, it's just an act. It's all an act. It's all a game. It's just, I don't know. I've been no contact for about 5 years now. And that's what has helped me, is just realizing that it was never real.
NFL edition, episode 16. So it's late as fuck out right now, but I want to get you guys another episode, and that way we can get rolling tomorrow with some more. So like I said in the last part, we had been going to a couples therapist for one visit, and by the second time, I was done with the situation. So I had sent a list over of all of his horrific behaviors in this 1 month time period so this therapist could get kind of just a snapshot in time of how horrible he was being to me. Now, a couple of these I've already a little bit told you guys, but I'm just going to run through this list anyway. So on day one, when I found out that I was cheating, he was yelling and screaming at me over the phone when I confronted him. I had to hang up on him multiple times for the horrific things he was saying to me, like, unfortunately, I'm not fucking anyone in Atlanta tonight, and I clearly don't have a problem finding other people to me. Day I found out, he threatened to call the police multiple times and report the van as stolen because I wanted to drive home. He refused to meet me even halfway. I had to drive completely to him, and this added another 2 hours to my 12-hour ride home, driving solo with a 2-year-old. When I met up with him at the gas station so he could get his things from the van, he was angry I still wasn't going to Atlanta. I guess Atlanta was where we were going to in Georgia. He said he was no longer going to pay for my gym membership to punish me because he wasn't getting his way. Not the gym membership. Originally lied about using protection with all 3 women. He didn't use any and got the first girl pregnant. The second one gave him. And third, knew these instances, but still had relations with her without a condom as well. This was a girl he met in an afternoon at a bar who were both okay with a random hookup a couple days later with no strings attached. There's never been any valid reasoning about his conversation with the girl he talked about not minding getting her pregnant. She didn't even have a contact made in his phone. She was only listed as a phone number. I don't know if he has a breeding fetish or what, but none of this is normal or okay. Originally lied about STD girl in our original conversation about him cheating and only admitted it when I confronted him about what was said in the text. Then he tried to downplay it afterwards, said it was only symptoms of and not the actual. He didn't know for sure that it was, despite his text messages with her stating the very opposite. And I have the lab report. Turned off the Wi-Fi to my computer and phone almost as soon as I got back from Florida when I first found out about the cheating and I told him it was over. Told me that Wi-Fi was a privilege and it froze me from doing anything productive. Couldn't even edit pictures. This didn't get turned back on until the weekend after the 4th of July party when the party moved to our house and I asked in front of his friends for it to please be turned back on. Said to me, saying that since I didn't like Costco runs on the weekends with Liam, that was part of the reason why he cheated on me. I would also message him to see if he'd won anything from Costco so I could put together a list for a trip I would take later in the day. He would tell me, since he was already on his way home down that way, that he would pop in and just grab what was needed. Let me show you guys something funny about this. So here is a funny text that we had that I found when I was trying to find stuff that went with the story. And this cracked me up, and I'll get out the way so you guys can pause to read.
Wait a minute. Okay, he said, do you want to get a grocery list together? And then I don't know if this is, hold on. Is this a trap? What? Never mind then. Okay, so I'm assuming he's in the blue. And then she responds, what? Never mind then. In the past, when you asked me for a list, it was turned into me being a shitty partner, completely unwilling to help. So I'm asking if this is a trap. That's totally not true, but I'm going to get groceries tomorrow. So is there anything you want? I have never trapped you about groceries. What the hell? Yes, you have. Hello, Costco's.
At this point, clearly, he was throwing anything he could to try to blame me for his actions. Wild stuff. The other reason for his cheating was because I didn't start back school or have a job, because again, he was piling all this crap on me to where there was no way that I could possibly physically do this. He also said I was setting a bad example to the other kids for being a stay-at-home parent, despite his ex-wife was also a stay-at-home parent, but I guess that was fine, right? He didn't apologize for cheating until almost 3 weeks after I found out. Instead, he blamed me multiple times for creating the situation. His behavior towards me was very aggressive, that I should just get over things. Also said very nonchalantly that people are able to get over cheating all the time. Tried to say that I was keeping Liam from the people over at the 4th of July party, despite me saying that I would head out to the farm for at least one day so he could visit everyone. And I ended up staying for several days. Told friends of his that the reason I wasn't at the beginning of the 4th of July party was because I couldn't get my shit together. They came to me asking questions if I was okay when I did end up coming out because what he was saying didn't match up to who I am as a person. When I let them know what was really going on, they were floored, disgusted, and it all made sense to them. Said he'd only give me $500 in child support for Liam despite being on record in court in Florida while being court reported that he'd take care of me and the kids if things didn't work out. This is another situation where I feel very manipulated because I'm not falling in line with how he'd like, and he's trying to scare and control me with money. He also called my therapist and told her he was no longer paying for my services. She was very upset by their whole encounter on this, and she also noted it was very clear he had no intention of doing anything in terms of taking care of us. He said that since his feelings were labeled as valid in the first couples therapy session, that his needs were just as important in mine in getting over this. Said the other baby mama was just as attractive as I am and went into a full analytical mode for a solid 5 minutes, giving a thorough side-by-side comparison of the two of us and what he finds attractive in us. That conversation felt so hurtful and was so damaging. All I was looking for was a little reassurance, which wasn't provided at all. If anything, his diatribe made our situation worse. Said he wasn't going to let me see his phone once because I asked to see it. Another time I asked,
I have a question. Is this a list that she sent this man? Is this a list that he sent this man? You know, narcs love triangulations. You know, that's what they love. That's how they get their ego stroked. That's how they survive when it comes to their confidence and their self-esteem. This man didn't read this list. I can tell you that man did not read that list. He didn't read this list. I'm sorry. He didn't read it. I can tell you that right now. A narc reading this list? No way. He didn't read this list at all. He didn't read this list.
He stated he didn't want me to see it because of his conversations with the other baby mama, which is worrisome given the boundaries I have requested to be.
Okay, so you're saying that this is what she gave to her therapist. Or this is the list that she created when she went to her therapy session. I don't want to go back. Is this what she gave to her therapist? I hope she gave it to her therapist, y'all, because I hope she didn't send this list to this man. Okay.
Be honored. Because I brought up using condoms, since I still don't have access to his phone, which feels shady to me over a month later, he thinks I keep changing my mind. So he thinks it's best to not have sex, despite me telling my needs about that. This was extremely damaging and trying to move forward. It made me feel like he didn't care about my needs and his needs felt more important. Wants to get a boorball dog in the last several weeks, even though I'm adamant about not getting one, as the last one he had severely bit and injured another person's face at the farm. It doesn't matter what it is. My opinions do not matter in any capacity. It's his way or no way, even if it puts his own children at risk. Said because I cried after sex once, and another time asked how I asked comparison questions after that I was killing things in the bedroom, and it made him not want to meet my needs. I feel like he doesn't want to deal with any of the fallout from his actions, that I should just get over it already. I'm made to feel bad about feeling bad. And again, I'm left coming away from these situations worse than I did before because of how he's making me feel when I bring up anything that makes him feel uncomfortable. He said that it felt good to have me chase him for sex, despite me stating how that made me feel and what my needs were about that. Said that my mom wasn't allowed here and that I needed to call and tell her that because I didn't want to be at the house while his dad was there.
Expected her to chase him for sex when he's a sex addict and he's out here sleeping around unprotected?
There. Said that his sex in February with the other baby mama was emotional and that he still feels love towards her and also feels love seeing her pregnant with his child. This was the final straw for me. I can't even begin to process how to try to move forward with this info, especially with the boundaries that I put in place with the other baby mama. In regards to me being upset about this, he said, well, you asked the question. Beyond heartless. Says that the other baby mama isn't allowed to have sex during her pregnancy because she's so high risk. Why does he know this info? He has said to me that they only had sex once and there was never any attempt to even try a relationship with her. It doesn't fit into any of the reasoning on why he should know that she shouldn't be having sex at the moment. Tries to say that I'm keeping him from being the father he wants to be to this child because I have boundaries that I've asked to be respected with her. I found out I'm pregnant myself 2 weeks ago. This is obviously not what is best at this current time and not helpful for me needing to rebuild my life with school, job, or both pregnant and as a single mom. Since I'm now insisting on ending the relationship, he's accusing me of getting pregnant on purpose. I can't even begin to say how hurtful and rude that feels to hear those words. And so now that I'm refusing to be in this relationship with him anymore, his abuse and his tactics and his rage just completely go off the rails.
Oh,
Who the fuck did I almost marry? NFL edition, part 17.
I'm sure. You know, when narcs lose control, when they don't have control over you, they lose their shit. You know what they do? They go, you are no longer controlled. They can't control you, right? And so then they go outside into the community and they control others. And they try to control you through other people. So what they do is they will go to people who will listen to them and control you through what they lie on you about. So they will go to friends, coworkers, probably the other baby mama, and they will make up lies and they will slander your name and make you out to be the biggest villain. So yeah, a smear campaign. And they will then control you that way, because since they can't control you directly, they'll inadvertently control you through other people. It's sick. It's sick and twisted. And when narcs lose their grip on you, that's when you see the real them. That's when you see a side of them that you've never seen before. And you would think she has seen all sides of this man at this point. No, she has not. She has not seen narcissistic injury, because they turn into somebody else. You literally see a mask fall off their face and you see a totally different person. It's really scary, actually.
So now I'm pregnant, and the other baby mama is 6 months pregnant ahead of me. I ended the relationship soon after I found out that I was pregnant. Luckily, Will was out of town half the time at least. And when he was home, a lot of times he would hole himself down in the basement. And luckily, Broke Down Palace was huge, so I was not having to share a bedroom with him. Part of his abuse tactics was not telling me that he was going out of town or his basic regular schedule until that day. Sometimes he'd already be out of town and then let me know that he was out of town. And this left me just unable to plan or do things. And 99%, I would say actually 99.9% of childcare and those kinds of things fell completely on me. So this is really when the financial abuse starts to really clamp down. The main way he would do this was again through the gas. The van again guzzled a ton of gas and he would refuse to pay. And it just left me scrambling and in situations. So my 2 older kids that were still with me were in 2 different schools during this time. And again, not on the bus route, so I'm having to take them. One of the schools I think was at like 7:30. The other was around 9. So this was a lot of back and forth pickups. And again, my kids also had activities, and then whatever else, if there were doctor appointments or anything else that needed to be done, I would have to take them. The next 18 months were extremely difficult. It's one of the most difficult time periods during my entire life. He would go in and out of these like nice guy stages. And then if I would say we're going to be leaving or, talk about not being with him, he would clamp down and try to make my life as just awful as he possibly could. Again, I like to call this time period like he was trying to beat me into submission and wanting to keep me with him without laying his hands on me. This was like deep, intense psychological warfare. He often would go through phases where he would try to kiss me or he would try to like grope me. And there were times where I felt like I had to tiptoe through this. And these were conversations I'd had with my therapist a lot, because there were a few times where like I felt like I had to kiss him back just to avoid the pain or the punishment that he would throw my way if I had rebuffed his advances. So it was a very challenging time period. And the PTSD and the fight or flight response that I still struggle with and being stuck in today is absolutely from that time period, because I was just straddling this line and it was very, very, very hard. There were a couple things that I did to kind of help empower myself during this time period. So I think it was June 29th of 2018, I started a daily log of his behaviors, and knowing that one day I would be able to leave or find a way to leave. And I would have this written history of everything that he had done to me. On October 13th of 2018, when he was out of town, I began to start going through the house and through his things to find any evidence, documents, paperwork, anything that I felt would be pertinent information. Again, for when I decided to leave. So I have over 400 pictures of old tax returns, bank statements.
Ladies, there's content creating like this, and then there's real life. Okay. It's crazy because I have to say this in my mentor sessions. I'll say it again. There's content creating, there's commentary, there's opinions, and then there's videos like this, and then there's real life. Real life is way more complicated. I'm sorry. It's like watching a movie versus reading a book. Leaving is just not as simple as some of you are trying to make it seem. You have to understand that there is psychological abuse, okay? You can't do anything without being in your right frame of mind. So that's number one. Then luckily she had her therapist. Then number two, one thing that you have to consider too is a lot of people don't understand in real life, you have to deal with emotions, feelings, mood swings. Especially if this man has you emotionally unstable, you're not going to always make the right choice and decision. You may be reactive. You may do something that you may later regret because you're under a lot of stress, okay? Then another aspect of this too is she has children. She can't just pick up and just leave and uproot her whole life. These kids are in school, which she just mentioned that. And then also her youngest is most likely used to seeing their dad, you know, every now and then, things like that. So it takes a lot of planning before you can really leave. It's not as simple as, oh, I could just get up and leave. This is why women should be very careful about getting pregnant, moving in with a man, and just wanting a man to financially take care of you 100%, because it really puts you in a vulnerable position where this man has 100% control, or he has majority of control financially, and then he's psychologically abusing you, so mentally, and then also you're living under his roof too. So it's just a lot that goes into this. There's real life, and then there's social media. There's real life, and then there's commentary like this. Real life is way more complicated. And it's sad that I have to say that, but in my mentor sessions, I have to explain to women like, hey, you're beating yourself up, but it's like, this is real life. Like, this is not my content commentary. So life is way more complicated than that. It has way more layers. Just like a book has way more details, it's more descriptive, there's a longer plot that's drawn out and everything like that. It's a lot more that goes into this. So please, let's be real, y'all. Let's be real. Me leaving a narc was easy to do. I didn't have any kids. I did not have any financial ties to him. I still kept my own place. So all I had to do was disappear because I could do that. Not every woman out here can do that. So that's why you have to be selective. I was about to say picky, but you need to be selective before you put all your bearings down, you put roots in the ground with a man. Like, you really do need to be super selective, because once you start putting roots down, it's not easy to just get up and leave and walk away. It's easy to do it when you're single and you don't have any kids. It's not easy to do it when you have kids. So, and then if you don't have any financial support, you're really going to be stuck like Chuck. I just mentored a woman 2 weeks ago. She couldn't just leave because she wasn't financially stable. She was only financially stable with the man in the picture. She was not financially stable without the man in the picture. She also needed her car fixed. So that's the thing. There's real life, and then there's social media. So please keep that in mind. Okay?
Bills, random bills, receipts, literally everything, stock information. And this helped me feel empowered. I felt like I was helping my future self out, and I absolutely have. And by doing that. And so I highly recommend that if you are finding yourself in this situation, that you start taking these kinds of photos and making sure that you know you have a pretty solid idea of what their financial picture looks like if you're not privy to direct access to it. Or even if you do have direct access, absolutely get proof of that, because as soon as you are gone, they're going to cut you out and you're no longer going to have access. So have your ducks in a row, take your pictures, get your screenshots, and then also send it to trusted people, because that way, if anything were to happen, they get to your phone or they hack your iCloud or wherever you have things stored. That way you have a backup if he really goes unhinged. So this log of daily events, it had a lot of gaslighting, these crazy circular conversations, which I will share one of those. I have a video recording of one that was like a 3-4 hour session that I'll do bits of for you guys. So you can see just the insanity of how crazy all of this stuff was. There was financial abuse, also like trying to find a balance of protecting myself versus like when to speak out, and also his reactions to when I would speak out, because it was never good. All of this left me in a permanent state of fight or flight. And this is something that to this day I struggle with. And even making this series has made my anxiety completely soar, even though I know this is so important and other people need to hear this story. Like, I am jolting awake at night in panic attacks right now. So I'm being brave, but this absolutely is affecting me, and it's totally triggering this whole fight or flight PTSD stuff that he has caused. So to give you an example of the financial abuse, on August 3rd, apparently he was going to some event in New York City. And again, this is what I was told. So this is what I would write down. And before he left me with no gas in the car. He had driven it the day prior. I had $45 in my account, and he had taken his debit card out of my wallet. So here I needed the car cost like $60 in gas alone to fill up this tank. And so here I was left with $45 with no gas and having to figure out everything else. On October 10th, he left for Nashville for the birth of this other child. To this day, I still don't even know what day this kiddo was born. And from what I understand, he was there for 5 days. Again, I don't know for sure. He had only called Liam one time during this time period because, like I said, he was very out of sight, out of mind when he was out of town. Will had gone directly from Nashville down to Panama City so he could help out. And on the way down, as he was traveling down, he started a fundraiser. And on my end back home in St. Louis, I was helping try to kind of organize help that people would need. And he started bringing in money through this fundraiser that he was doing. And I think he raised like, I don't know, it was like $3,000 or so. This was so difficult for me, having to pretend that he is this great guy and he's so helpful and he's helping these people in time of need. And there are so many comments praising him. And again, what a great guy. This athlete came back and is helping us rebuild. And here he had just come back from this woman having his other baby, and he's being horrific to me while I'm also pregnant. This time period was extremely hard for me. I remember a conversation that I had with the superintendent of Bay County Schools. I was trying to arrange a fundraiser for our elementary school up here. That way the kids there could get involved and help the kids down there. And we were trying to figure out the logistics of a school that we could pick that would directly channel the funds directly to this particular school. And I remember in that conversation, how you like, yeah, oh, such a good guy. And it was such a hard, bizarre time period. And I felt like I had to suck it up because obviously this town and people needed help, and this, my issues weren't as important as what was needed during this time period. Also, and I am not saying that Will has misappropriated those fundraising funds, but that money went directly from this fundraiser directly to his account. I had nothing to do with it. I helped promote it, but I had nothing to do with actually getting the funds or dictating anything about where these funds were going. After the storm, about half of the funds were left. And we had kind of tossed around a little bit about doing a Toys for Tot kind of thing for the people who were still in town and needed assistance. And after that, I never heard another word about that money. And again, I'm not saying that he misappropriated the funds, but if you were in that fundraiser, I would absolutely ask and demand what the other portion that was left was spent on. And he owes that to the people who did that donation.
Will, you got some explaining to do, brother? Because what was that about? What was that about? I don't understand that. What was that about? That's suspicious. I'll say it. She not gonna say it. That's suspicious.
And yep, right around this time period, he brings home another animal. This is Ash, aka Ashhole, and you can see him in my TikToks now. I stated previously in another part.
I wonder if her therapist ever addresses the animal thing. It's very weird. It's very freaking weird. What is up with the animal thing? Any psychiatrists in the chat? Any therapists? Anybody? What's up with the animal? The animals? I don't get it. I know he has a farm, but like he's not buying cattle. He bought a cat. What's up with the animals? It's very strange to me.
Part that alienation had begun to start with his 3 older girls, and in the next part, that absolutely exploded. Who the fuck did I almost marry? NFL edition, part 18. So like I said in a previous part, he had started to alienate his girls from me in the summer of about 2017. And unfortunately, I could not understand or see that it was actually the beginning of an alienation process until afterwards. Right after the baby was born, I had a text conversation with one of his girls, and she was looking for some pictures. She was wanting to make some collages. And I said, what kind of pictures are you looking for? She gave me an age range. And
when she's talking about his daughter, one of his daughters, okay?
And I said, sure, I'll send over all kinds of pictures. I just don't want any comparison pictures between Liam and the new baby. And she said, okay. And about 10 minutes later, I get wild text message from Will. And he's like, how dare you say that to her? You need to apologize immediately. So I'm like, wow, okay. So I apologize because I was like, I am so sorry if I hurt your feelings. Like, that was not my intention at all. Like, at all. Like, I adore these girls. And we had like a couple other exchanges, and that was literally it. And then like it completely like unraveled from that point. And so I got the craziest text message that was sent to both Will and I by this girl, and like wild accusations. And like, I was floored because it was like, that's not at all. Like, I mean, we had like maybe, I don't know, it was like an exchange of maybe 10 back and forth messages, like nothing like that. And this was literally the first conversation she and I had ever had about this other baby. So I messaged their mom because I was like, I have no clue even how to begin to handle this. This is like wild, wild stuff. So hold on one second. Let me grab this message. So this is the message that I sent to her. I'm blacking out names for privacy here. I don't feel it's necessary to include them, but I had sent literally a screenshot of everything that had taken place. So she had seen like the full breakdown of the conversation. So let me duck out the way.
Oh, wait a minute now. Hold on. Let's go back. Okay. Oh. Okay, so she sends, Will started messaging me in a very attacking manner. It's clear they had a conversation about it while I have my own ideas of what he said to her. It's clear, ooh, I can't see that. Every basic level, he wasn't attempting to calm her down or smooth over the situation in any way. It was the, I don't know what that says. Okay, it was like gas poured on a fire. This is what is most upsetting for me, as I feel he isn't having her best interest at heart and is acting self-serving as a way to manipulate me because he's not getting his way with me. He wants to stay together and I'm completely done. So, y'all, basically what I'm getting from this is he was trying to triangulate her against the daughter. And he did this on purpose. So he also brought Blank into the mix yesterday by telling her I sleep in her bed, sending that screenshot over as well. He said last night after she sent that, he wants me back in his bed, and it makes me sick to my stomach to see the girls being used in this way. Yeah, like he was using his daughters and basically manipulating them, and then manipulating her and manipulating the situation because she doesn't want him. Tori does not want to be with him. I can handle crazy accusations coming my way, but it absolutely breaks my heart seeing kids used as weapons for personal gain. Yeah, narcs do that. That's what they do. Remember when I said earlier in this live that this was all about now that he can't control her, he's going to control how others see her or how others interact with her because he can't control her. I didn't respond to either of their messages yesterday because I felt it would only continue to escalate things further, which that was a smart move on Tori's part. And I will say I'm at a complete loss with how to even approach it, as what's being said is on a crazy level and untrue. Again, I'm so sorry to even bring this to you. I'm just seriously concerned. So he triangulated his daughters against her. Ooh, that's sick. That's some weird. Ooh.
And this was her response to me. And yeah, it still makes me get teary when I saw this come through, to have just such like a kind, sweet message and to be told like I didn't do anything wrong, because I truly didn't feel like I did. And to have that reassurance in the middle of like just more craziness, like truly meant the world to me. And let me get out the way.
She said, morning, Tori, I'm sorry you're going through this. So this is the message from their mother. She says, morning, Tori, I'm sorry you're going through this. Please know I'm doing my best to manage the situation on my end from out of the country. Thanks for letting me know. You've done nothing wrong. You've been very supportive with the girls over the years, and I'm very grateful for that. Please know that they care for you a lot. And then Tori responds, thank you so much for that. It means more to me than you'll ever know, and I'm in tears over your kindness. I truly adore the girls, which has made the last couple of days even more difficult on that front. Please know your words will not be said to Will, as I am not that kind of person. They are safe with me. Thank you again for your kindness, and I hope you have safe travels.
I was severely worried that he was blowing me up to them and using them as weapons against me. And that's exactly what ended up happening. So after I had that message with their mom, I was like, okay, like this should be like a done, settled situation. I never mentioned to him, Will, that I had reached out to her. I didn't feel like it was like necessary information. I was just kind of letting it lie. And at this time, the girls were only coming over like.
No, that was his ex-wife. Okay. That was his ex-wife, y'all. That was the ex-wife, and he had the girls with the ex-wife. So she sent the message to the ex-wife. Listen, the ex-wife the ex-wife knows what she's dealing with. So I'm pretty sure that's why she sent the text that she sent. She knows. She knows how this man is. She knows his true nature. She used to be married to him. Come on now.
Once a month, maybe. I mean, it was like rarely at this point. So I was hardly seeing them. And again, no conversations about the other baby. Will kept pushing and pushing and pushing that he, I, and this particular girl sit down and have a conversation about all of this. And this was, by this point, summer of 2019. So we're talking, months and months later. And I'm like, I resisted for a while because I'm like, I don't think that this is necessary. And I'm certainly not going to sit down with just you because like, what? And so I reached out to her again. It was May 30th and asked for her assistance to see, hey, look, he's wanting to sit down. I didn't realize that there was still an ongoing problem with this. Hadn't spoken to her about this. Like, I just had a complete loss. And unfortunately, I never heard anything back. And please, I am not saying that in any bad way to her, because she has probably been traumatized. I don't even know like what her reasoning is. I think she's a wonderful mom and a lovely lady. So on Labor Day weekend of 2019,
that was probably like the best choice or best decision, because when you feed into narcs and their lies, their games and things like that, they just cause more chaos, more confusion. So the best thing to do at times when you're really truly dealing with the narc is just not to respond at all, because a lot of times they just do weird things like this, creating this fake drama between her and the girls and the ex-wife, simply because it's just further manipulation. And then again, he can't control her, so he's trying to control how others see her. It's just too much. Ooh, girl, when I tell you a narc will have you go insane, like will have you questioning, the sky is clearly blue, right? But we'll have you questioning, like, is it blue? Is it really blue? Is it? The sun could be shining outside, but the way a narc will play head games with you, you'll be like, is the sun outside? Is it shining? And you see the sun is out. You see it shining. But when you're dealing with a crazy ass narc, you're going to be like, no, but is it? I mean, I know I see this. I feel the heat on my skin, but is it really outside? Because that's how crazy they are, y'all. It's getting me upset. If you ain't never dealt with a narc, I'm telling you, that is exactly how it is. That is exactly how it is. We'll have you question everything. The sun out, you feel the heat on your body, but you like, but is it out? Because that's what narcs do. They're weird like that. Okay, they're psychopaths. I feel like they a lot of things. They need to be in therapy so we can really get a good diagnosis on their ass. Because I'm telling you, they different. They different. The only way you can really get back at a narc is you got to play they crazy ass games and then disappear. That's what you got to do. Play it cool, play their game, and then just disappear. That's the best thing you can do, because that's how crazy they are.
She and I somehow ended up in the house all by ourselves. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and take this opportunity while we're by ourselves and just be able to talk it out without his interference. Because again, he was going to gaslight, do all kinds of horrible stuff. And I didn't want to deal with that. So in our conversation, we discussed a bunch of stuff. We cried, we hugged it out. Like, I was like, okay, like this should be settled and squashed, but no. So again, I saw her just a couple more times after this, never spoke about the baby again. And then on November 26th, I get another text message from her, and she's saying, you didn't mean anything that you said to me at the farm. You don't love us anymore, which it's like so heartbreaking. And I mean, I adored these girls. Like I said, they were my buddies, and I treated them like my own kids. Like I just loved them so much.
He did this on purpose, y'all. He did this on purpose because he knew she adored those girls and treated those girls as if they were her own. And he did this to get back at her. That's sick. Ooh, that's how dirty game. That's the dirty type of games narcs play when they know how you are when it comes to certain things. They will take that away from you on purpose.
And at this point, like, I'm incredibly worried about her well-being. Like, the fact that this is still being carried on one side by Will
that's crazy,
completely unacceptable. And so I reached back out to her mom and I let her know again what was going on. And she had no clue any of this was still even going on. And for them to be so manipulated and gaslit and used as weapons, even at the sacrifice of their own mental well-being, it terrifies me for my own children. Like, it's just absolutely unacceptable and disgusting behavior. Unfortunately, this completely alienated them from me. And this was hands down one of the most devastating things that came from this. And if you guys are happen to be watching, like, I love you guys. And I hope that you're well. And unfortunately, the drama did not stop there. Things really got nasty right after Thanksgiving 2018. Who the fuck did I almost marry? NFL edition, part 19. So right after Thanksgiving of 2018, my ex-husband had found out that I was pregnant again with Will's baby and that another mother had been pregnant as well. And he began to blast me all over his Facebook. Hold on. So here it was. Let me get out the way.
Okay, so this hurt, girl. This is messy. I'm glad I don't got this drama in my life. Ooh, girl, I don't know what I would do. And then it's on Facebook. And all of a sudden, he's got another chick pregnant and you go spoon. So he writes, ooh, so Tori is pregnant again by Spoon, their second child together, and he still hasn't asked her hand. Now, PC being PC. I've learned he has 2 women pregnant at the same time. That's 9 kids and counting for both of them. Now that's trust and true love right there. Karma is a bitch. Laugh my ass off. Can somebody help me with what's the abbreviation for PC? What's the abbreviation for that? I know it ain't what I think it is. Is it what I think it is? That's crazy.
And also was sending me really nasty text messages.
And this man got the audacity because wasn't he beating on his wife? Yeah. Oh, politically correct. Okay. All right. I'm glad we cleared that up because I'm like, I know that ain't what I think it is. Okay, so it's politically correct. Okay, because my mind was going somewhere else. So Spoon has knocked up another chick while being a faithful, loving fiance to you while you're knocked up again by him. So this probably added to why she stayed so long. She didn't want to have to deal with the public embarrassment. Makes sense, especially when you have an ex like this. Rumors spread fast down here, and this should be on a TV show. It's called Fiance Swap, like the Mormons do. Ooh, 9 kids and counting. Laugh my ass off. This is better than any Jerry Springer show I've ever seen. What? No comment back? Question mark. How's blank and blank feel about their new not son-in-law? I'm laughing my butt off at this one. You've now did, Tori. I don't know what else he meant.
This obviously felt very embarrassing. And
I just want to add another layer to this conversation that some women stay longer than they probably should be or should simply because they have to deal with public embarrassment. And then if the family didn't like the man, then they have to deal with that. You know, they got to deal with a lot of stuff. So we don't talk about that enough. We don't talk about why some women stay. Not using this as an excuse. I'm simply just pointing this out. Some women stay longer than they should, or they stay, period, because of public embarrassment, family, and things like that. Okay. So it adds to why they are forcefully trying to make it work with a crazy. Because let's just call it what it is. While they're forcefully trying to make it work with a crazy, because if they had to deal with family having an opinion and saying like, why would you do that? It's just further shame that they will feel. And then they have to feel it from their family and possibly even friends, you know, or just public overall. So they'll try to force it, or they'll at least try to make it work.
And the fact that this was being broadcast on that level, again, we all have a lot of mutual friends. We all went to high school together, and neither of us had announced that I was even pregnant again anyway. So this really upset Will, who was also getting some nasty messages. And so he decided that.
But ladies, you also have to keep in mind, yes, it does. It has everything to do with the pride, has everything to do with the ego, to not want to deal with the public embarrassment. Yes, I would agree with that. But when your self-esteem is already in the trash due to everything that this man has put you through, the only thing left is your pride in your ego. So it takes mental strength to overcome what people are going to think and what people are going to say. You have to push past your pride, and you have to push past your ego, which is hard. Okay, it's not easy. But you just got to do what you got to do, okay? And sometimes when you have to do what is best for you, it hurts and it sucks and it's embarrassing and people talk shit about you, okay? But you just got to push through it. It ain't easy, but you just got to do what you got to do. And it sucks that he was over here making fun of her like, what? That's crazy.
He wanted to make a Facebook post himself about this. So I don't have a screenshot of his actual Facebook post because he posted it and then took it down relatively quickly because this really upset me. If you can see at the bottom when I get out of the way, you can see he was trying to pass off the girl that he had knocked up in Nashville. He tried to pass it off as an IVF baby. And again, I had previously said, nope, I'm not playing this. Like, you're going to own it. And so he took this post down.
He goes, okay, so this is from Will. He goes, I don't tend to talk about a lot of things on Facebook, nor do I call anyone out on it. But I'm at a point where something needs to be said, and the individual that needs to see it seems to think this is what matters. So Tori, Blank and I have been together for quite some time, each step of the way dealing with Blank since he has shared some information which needs to be corrected. I figured I would make a post about it all. Number one, yes, we are having another child, which we both are excited about. One, which should have been our choice to share that with the world in our own time. Two, yes. So this is how he keeps his image clean, y'all. This man is sick. Yes, I have another child conceived through IVF with a friend of the family who has... Oh, I guess we don't get the rest of that.
So anyhow, he replaced it with this post, and I will get out of the way.
Many saw my post this morning, and much of that came from sheer anger and frustration. In the end, I realized I don't owe an explanation to anyone. Thank you for all the wonderful comments, and for those keeping track. Our news to the newest edition makes 9 amazing kids in this crew of all ages, and each with interests of their own. You will all see them grow in time. Oh, y'all, I don't like this man. And this is how he's been able to keep his image squeaky clean, but is out here causing all of this chaos and all of this confusion in people's lives. This is crazy.
Believe it or not, the drama did not stop there. His sister and his dad decided that they were going to hop in the drama as well.
What?
So she makes this Facebook post threatening me and my ex-husband that she was going to feel froggy and jump. And then you can see this, but they're both threatening me. And then all of her friends jump in the comments saying things like their pull up and pop out game is strong and whatnot. And here I am caught in the middle of all this drama. I've not said anything to anyone at the...
Somebody said it's giving fake. Listen, y'all. If you've never dealt with a narcissist, just say that, okay? I haven't even watched this, okay? I have not watched this. Do you not understand the drama a narcissist will create when they lose control over you? Okay? I really don't think y'all know what that's like. When they lose control over you, I literally said this before we even got into all of this. I said when a narc loses control over you, he will try to control you by smear campaigning your name. So everyone is out gunning for you, okay? All right? That's what I said. Narcs are always in drama, but for whatever reason, it's never them, but they're always in the middle of drama. That is what they do, okay? They're never the villain, they're never the problem, but they're always in the middle of it though. But it's always the other person. That's how it goes, y'all. I said it before we even got this far. I literally said. So I knew it was about to get crazy because I'm like, I know what narcs do when they lose control over you. They start to manipulate other people about you. That's what they start to do. Okay, so let's see. What the hell? So I'm assuming this is his sister. Someone needs to let blank and blank know that I don't play about mine. Please grow the F up and handle/mind your own business. P.S. I don't care what any of you think of me, so keep your comments to yourself. FYI, I'm a real mother in every sense of the word. Feeling froggy, then jump.
This point. And I'm pregnant with her niece and his granddaughter, and they are threatening me.
Wait.
So
wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute.
And I'm pregnant with her niece and his granddaughter, and they are threatening me.
I believe those two better run and run far and fast. Somebody should have told them Mama Bear is dangerous and protective. I don't even mess with Mama Bear. And you know what's also so crazy too? The narcs always have enablers for family members. Like it's really incredible how this works. I mean, and you know why the family is chiming in, right? Money. They don't want that money train to stop. They want Will to keep giving that money. So of course, he probably told them, like, y'all not gonna publicly defend me, or they probably felt the need to defend him because he be paying. Okay, they on payroll. That's what people on payroll do. That is what they do.
So as you can imagine, this was deeply upsetting, and this scared me because, like, what? It was so bizarre and so crazy. And so me being upset, of course, Will didn't understand why I was upset. And this is what he decided to send me. He actually wanted me to reach out to his sister to make amends with her.
What?
Even though I had not done a thing. Like, I got all of these people just literally drama and craziness around me, and I'm supposed to be the one that apologizes? Make this make sense.
You're killing me at this conference. Have you said anything to my sister? Nope. She's making threats against me. Why would I reach out to her? Well, to understand why she mentioned you in that post, but I know this is better. You do it and ask why. It's better you do it and ask why. I talked to her this morning. She had just read through blank racist and ranting. So so why include me and blast me along with him? Okay. So this is what I'm getting from all of this. All right. The ex was trying to throw shots while also being racist. And that's what upset the family. Okay. And then Tori was thrown in the middle. And now they're all wanting her to apologize and things like that. Which I could kind of see it. I could kind of see it like that. But I don't know. I feel like there's more to this than what we're seeing, but maybe she'll get more into it. Let's see. So why include me and blast me along with him? He's doing this garbage to me too. I didn't do anything to even bring this on. Your sister and father are posting threats against me on Facebook. You should be effing livid about this. Oh, he likes this. I'm gonna tell you right, the narc loves this. He loves that his dad and his sister is attacking her. This is messy.
And then tried to downplay what his dad said to me about needing to run far and fast while pregnant with his granddaughter.
Oh, wait. Did I go too far? Hold on, wait a minute now. My dad didn't post anything. I'm not reaching out to her in any way. I'm this close to going to the police department and filing a report along with charges for this ish. I don't play with threats like that.
And more of this.
Yes, he did. He just saw my sis was upset. That's not a threat. Y'all, I gotta be real. Can I be real? Can I really be real? This is the difference between how Black people handle things versus how palm-colored people handle things, okay? I believe that that's part of the problem here, okay? And it's messy because you add an extra layer on top where people are making posts, but there's no verbal communication where you can read a person's tone and, you know, their true position, because this is all being done through text. And it's just very, very messy. And I believe that that's the difference between her versus his family. Part of that is a layer to all of this, okay? But I still believe Will was in the middle of this. I don't know what was exchanged between Will, his sister, and his dad, but I believe that there were some other things that were exchanged. But her ex-husband is dead wrong, but she doesn't have any control over him. So it kind of puts her in the middle too. So those two, so she responds, those two better run far and fast. He's threatening me. Then Will responds, but okay, I did nothing to deserve being brought into her post. That's a statement, ... Unreal. I should have known you would defend this garbage. And then he responds, I'm not pissed. She is upset at all. I don't know what I'm not pissed. She's upset at all. I don't know what he means by that. At me, blank and blank deserve her ish, not me.
So a little bit of background on his sister. She was rude, nasty, and mean to me from literally day one that I met her. I met her it was at a Thanksgiving, I think maybe 2014, maybe? Yeah, 2014. And it got so bad that she was so nasty to me. We had this like 3-hour conversation where he was like reaming into her the whole time with me sitting there. It was very awkward, but you know, it just not good vibes. And I don't want to get a lot into it, but she has been mean and nasty to me. And I've never been anything but nice to this girl. Don't know what her issue is with me, but honestly, like, I don't care. Even the person who had previously posted about him having 3 other babies out there, she even had stated that his sister is another series in itself. It's not just me. And a lot of other people have also issued just concerns with all of this.
Okay, someone from a fake page is responding from one of her TikTok videos about the sister. So as she's posting this, as she's updating the story, someone comments under her previous videos about him and his sister, I guess. He was a not so nice human before his mom passed. He says I changed when she passed. No, he was always reckless with his cousins and or friends. I can name a few of those friends that were. Barbara Gorman, who passed him in Hawk School. Reason he got into UGA, correct? And his sister is another series in itself. There is a part in the future of his sister. See, this y'all, this is why to the sisters that are listening, you don't know what it's like being in a relationship with your brother. I have 2 brothers. I have male cousins. I stay out of their shit because I don't know what it's like to be in a relationship with them. I know what it's like to be a sister to them. I know a sister-brother relationship, but I don't know an intimate relationship, a romantic relationship. I don't know what that shit's like. I don't know what it's like to have 8 kids. That's why I mind my damn business. Okay? To the sisters that are listening, stay out of your brother's stuff. You don't know what it's like to be in a romantic relationship with your brother. You only know what it's like to be his sister. That's it. That is it. I hate seeing that. I cringe. Like, I will never get in the middle of my brother and what he got going on. And then if I do find out that he's treating her in a way that I know my brother wouldn't want no man treating me, now that's the only time that I will say something. But outside of that, I don't get in the middle of their stuff. I don't get in the middle of their affairs. I mind my damn business. But I will call out some contradiction. That's it. That's it. Otherwise, that don't got nothing to do with me. I don't know what it's like to be with them like that.
Anyhow, I felt like I was in backwards land with all of this stuff. And as my therapist liked to call it, like crazy making. And that's exactly what this was. Like nothing adds up. Nothing makes sense. Like, how is it my responsibility to clean up other people threatening me when I didn't do anything to them? His dad did end up coming to me at Christmas of 2018 and did apologize, but he maintained that he didn't threaten me, which whatever, he absolutely did. And after that incident, I unfriended Will and every single one of his family members that I had on my social media. I was just done.
You can't be friends with the narcs and his family members. You cannot be I repeat, you cannot be friends with the narc and his family members. You can't be cordial with them. You can't keep in contact with them. No. You can't even be friends with his friends. Like, when you go no contact with a narc, which she can't go 100% no contact, but you really do have to limit your interactions with anything that's truly associated with him. So that's friends, family, colleagues, whatever the situation may be. Like, you need to limit your interactions with anyone that he is associated with, unfortunately, outside of your children and the minimum contact that you are trying to create by co-parenting. And that's it. Because if not, you're never going to have peace. If not, you're never going to have peace. If not, you're always going to be in the middle of drama. So the way you can alleviate that is by not associating with anyone that he associates with. That's the only way. Siblings, parents, cousin, like, you have to go no contact with damn near the whole family in his circle of friends. And then if you have kids with him, you need to make sure that the contact is truly at a minimum.
And so if you are a family member and you are watching this, it was not personal. You just unfortunately got stuck in the crosshairs. And I swear to God, it was nothing personal. And that was not the only crazy thing that happened at Christmas 2018. So stay tuned. Who the fuck did I almost marry? NFL edition, part 20.
That's crazy.
So like I said before, there was another tragic incident that happened at Christmas 2018. And also, like I had previously stated, I had started snooping around the house, trying to find any kind of proof and documentation that I could find. And a lot of times I would go back when I would find something and compare it to what was told to me previously, because I had it written down. And a lot of times there were so many lies. And a lot of times I didn't go and confront him because, one, he would just gaslight me and completely twist and turn it, and I would end up being the problem. And so a lot of times I just didn't say anything. And
which was smart of her. When a narc is never going to admit that they lied about something unless they further manipulate you with saying that, yes, you're right, you lied, da, da, da. They'll just further manipulate you with it. Towards the end of my relationship with my narc, there were things that I was finding out about him, and I never said anything because I knew he would lie and just further gaslight me out of the truth. So, and again, I explained the psychological abuse to a narc is the sun can be outside, it's sunny, you feel the heat on your skin, but you're still questioning, is that the sun? Because that is the psychological abuse that they will have you under when dealing with them. So towards the end, when you truly are ready to leave and get out of the situation, you just have to start collecting information and keeping the mental notes, or sometimes you may need to write it out to keep your sanity so you can keep record of every lie this person has told, because you may need to reference it later because that's how much they lie and play mental games and try to further psychologically abuse you. Okay. So you got to keep record of everything, because you'll think about it and you'll be like, I could have sworn he said it, da da da. And then he could say the exact same thing again, but then twist it or change a small detail and then try to make it seem like he told you that all along when he really didn't. That's the type of games they play. Very, very abusive.
So somehow on Christmas Eve of 2018, I was able to snoop. So I found a ton of receipts that showed at Thanksgiving, he was actually in Tennessee.
Damn.
Now, I had previously been told that he was in Georgia at Thanksgiving. And so to find out that he had lied and he was actually in Nashville with the other baby mom for Thanksgiving, this was hurtful. And while I had ended the relationship, I was still living there. And there is a common saying that you cannot heal while you are still in that situation. So even though I wasn't with him, this was still deeply hurtful, and he had lied to me. And so I decided to confront him. When I was making this running log and I would go back and check things, it was so eye-opening how easily this guy was able to lie. I mean, it was like water. And it was very eye-opening for me to see how he was able to just move through these situations with ease. Like the most diabolical liar I've probably ever come across. Again, Will is...
Two things, ladies. Never confront a narc. They're never going to own up to anything, and never go to therapy with the narc. Go to therapy for yourself. Okay. It saves you money anyway. The worst thing you can ever do is think a pathological liar is going to own up to anything. He's not, or she's not, whoever the narc is, they're not going to own up to it. Okay.
Very disorganized, and he had stuff everywhere. At some point, I will show what this primary room ended up looking like, because I mean, dude is messy. And so he would have piles of mail. There'd be receipts everywhere. I mean, it was like shit was everywhere. So again, I came across these receipts. Let me bring out the proof. So we have this one, another one, and yet another one.
Oh, he was buying her.
So when I went to go confront him, he went into an absolute rage. Again, this is Christmas Eve. His 3 older girls are there. He decides he's going to take any of my boxes that I had upstairs, and he brought them downstairs and disassembled the bed that was in this bedroom. The way that Broke Down Palace was arranged, almost all of the bedrooms were on the 2nd floor. We had turned an office into my very oldest daughter's bedroom, and that was on the main floor. And then there was a bedroom that was directly behind the kitchen. And so he threw all of these boxes into this bedroom on this main floor. He also decided to disassemble the bed and also brought in another bed. And again, he is raging. He's pitching this huge fit, and his 3 older girls are there, and it's Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve. And this was obviously traumatizing. I'm crying, I'm sobbing, just absolutely unhinged behavior. Let me show you what this bedroom looked like after he was done.
And then the worst thing you could ever do is cry in front of a narc, because that's the point. They want you to have that type of reaction, because it makes them feel like they have control, because they're able to get that reaction out of you. Like the worst thing you could ever do is show any real emotion towards them, or even confront them. Like, honestly, y'all, I'm gonna say it again. All right. The best thing to do when you're dealing with a narc is to disappear. Okay. There's no working it out. There's no pleading with them. They have no empathy. Okay. So you showing emotions in front of them, they don't care about that. They don't feel anything. Okay. They feel nothing. All they know how to do is operate in a very selfish way. So it's like the worst thing you could ever do is cry in front of a narc, because you're going to feel how cold they really are. I will never forget when I'm not even a crier like that. And I cried in front of the narc. And when I tell you, that was the first time and the last time I ever cried in front of that man. And it was because I saw how cold he really was. And I said that man will never see me cry like that ever again. Because that's when you really see how they really don't care about you like that. They don't give a damn. They don't care. They feel nothing. They don't feel anything. They're just cold. That's it.
So here's one of the beds, and you can see some boxes and just my stuff kind of strewn all over the place. I'll get out of the way. And the other side of the room with the bed that he had disassembled that I ended up having to put together by myself, pregnant. You can see the time and dates at the top of each of these screenshots, and you can see how timeline-wise and time it kind of unfolded. This kind of stuff was incredibly damaging, not only to me, but to the kids in the house. And again, Liam is there this entire time, like just completely unacceptable. And this is also why I rarely confronted him about things, because when I did, it completely hit the fan and he was absolutely unhinged. And by this time, I had told him that if he continued this kind of behavior towards me, that he was not going to end up being allowed into the delivery room with my child. And we will see how that unfolds in the next part. Who the fuck did I almost marry? NFL edition, part 21. So with all of this lying, gaslighting, blowing up at little, small, insignificant things, my emotional and mental state was horrible during this time period. I hated going out in public because just bumping into people I would know and they would innocently ask a question, hey, how are you doing? And I would be instantly just into tears. I was just so emotional. Like I was not keeping it together well. And this was so embarrassing. I'm not someone who likes to cry in front of people or anything like that. So I really did not like leaving the house at this time. It was so, so hard. And I don't want to list all of the things that happened during my pregnancy. At this point, I'm just focusing on these bigger issues. But just know that every day there was crap from him. He was making it as hard as possible. And I had gotten to a point shortly after the whole Christmas Eve incident that if he did not turn it around and start being decent to me, that he was not going to be able to get into the delivery room. Because there's no way. Like somebody who is literally trying to destroy you and be as horrible to you as possible every single day. I'm sorry, but like.
Are there any women in the chat that had a baby with a narc? I could not imagine going through something like that. Ugh. Yeah, like a narc's level of coldness is inhumane. It's something that, it's like, I can't even say it's animalistic. I don't even know what to compare it to. Their level of coldness is just, I believe it's the type of level of coldness that where they will unalive people. Like I do. I think it's that level of coldness. I do. I can only imagine. Did you have him in the delivery room, or did you just didn't want him in the delivery room? I couldn't be under that type of stress while pregnant. I couldn't do it. Absolutely not. Oh my gosh.
There's no way, like mentally, I could have handled him in that situation. No. And I'm sure some people are like, oh, that's horrible. I don't care. I think women in that situation need to do exactly what's the best for them. And
they ain't never, listen, if you feel like she made the wrong decision, you ain't never dealt with a narc who has put you under a lot of mental, physical stress. I've never been pregnant. So this is coming from someone that's never been pregnant. And I'm saying, if you've never dealt with a narc and their psychological abuse and the stress that comes with that, I can't even imagine being pregnant and trying to deliver a baby under that level of stress. I could barely get out of bed. Hell, I think the only thing I could really do was shower. Thank God I only had to look after myself. So I don't think people understand the level of stress that you're really truly under when you're dealing with a narc.
It is such a vulnerable time period. And yeah, you got to do what is absolutely best for you. So here's one of the messages that I sent to him. This one is from April 2019. There were multiple of these. I don't want to bore you with every single one of them, but let me get out the way so you guys can read.
Okay, so look at your behavior. So she's texting him, look at your behavior, and you're lashing out on multiple things just today. You have been horrible to me my entire pregnancy. I've tried to let you know how you can turn that around by just being a decent human being to me, but you refuse and try and dangle love over my head to get your way. Do you think this is going to make me want to tell you I love you by not allowing me to be there? It's so gross. then your presence there would only be a detriment. And that's what you don't understand. The level of toxicity you've created had been so bad, and you've refused to correct it. If anything, you just continue to add to it. Oh, girl. Oh my God. Y'all, this man about to, this is triggering me. I'm sorry. This is really, oh, girl, this is really triggering me. Then he gonna say, name one thing you have corrected yourself. And then he respond, and then he texts again. Simple question. I have provided several ways to, I don't even want to read what he got to say. He just gonna piss me off.
And here's the second part of this conversation.
I have provided several ways to work on things that, unlike you, isn't a one-sided war. Oh my God. You have to be kidding me. This question is so delusional on so many levels, and it's been addressed at least 10 times in text messages. If you would like to scroll up for a refresher, I cannot rehash this yet again. Again, addressed as only meeting your needs. Y'all, this man, just seriously stop. It's so bad, and I'm really over hearing your BS, justifying your behavior. I'm done rehashing this with you as it goes absolutely nowhere. Exactly. That's why talking to them, y'all, it's like really, truly a waste of your time. Trying to, it's like you have to really plead with them so they can see your point of view, but they refuse to really see your point of view and really understand your position. And it just further stresses you out when you try to communicate with them. So she says, I'm done rehashing this with you as it goes absolutely nowhere and won't ever go anywhere. Pointless combo. Yep.
My therapy sessions were still going on during this time and were a complete lifeline for me. Although, I love her, I would just go in there and just cry. And it was so hard. And I know we're sitting there, it was towards the end. And I was just like, I can't wait to have this baby just to stop being so emotional. Because this was one of the just lowest points in my entire life. And also I had other friends and family who were just amazing to me during this time.
I believe it.
My OBGYN's office was also incredibly.
Yes, narcs are the type that will hurt you on purpose. When they hurt you, it's on purpose. It is not by, oops, they're just, no, they are evil people, y'all. Okay? They are very evil. All right? All right. And this is why I've been 5 years, no contact. We going strong. We're going to continue to go strong, because when you really process how they really are, you are so disgusted by them. Like even when you look at them, you're like disgusted. Okay. Very disgusted. Your power is your silence. Your power is non-reactive. All right. Because they're demonic. Yeah, I would say that, because they're cold, their level of coldness, their level of heartless, their level of dismissiveness, their level of gaslighting and making you feel like you're crazy. Just, it's just, no. Like the only thing you can do is just stop talking to them, stop showing them any emotion, stop caring about them. Like just throw them in the trash, honestly.
Kind. Because again, I would go in there and just sob and break down. And starting about somewhere around my 6th month, I started letting them in on what was going on and the abuse that I was enduring at home. And they really, at each appointment, wanted to make sure that I was okay and that if I needed anything, and they were just incredibly kind to me. My final straw came with him on April 7th of 2019, obviously just a handful of days after I'd sent him that other screenshot that I shared with you guys. I had been out in the garage and I was just trying to get things sorted, because I knew after I had the baby and when an opportunity was finally going to present itself for me to be able to leave, I was just trying to get some things kind of just.
Listen. Yes, she keeps data. Yes, she does. I need Black women to be taking notes though. And the reason is because we don't keep data. We don't, and when we need to. And the reason why I say that is because she's probably keeping all of this data for court. Okay, she's preparing to probably fight for herself legally if the opportunity is to ever present itself, possibly keeping data for a police report, or anything that has to do with fighting him legally. Okay. That is why she's keeping data. It's very, very smart. So if you are out here dealing with the narc, like, yeah, you should be doing the same thing. I know I did, but I did towards the end, and I was doing it towards the end because I seriously thought I was going to be forced to file a restraining order. But luckily for me, because I was moving in silence, I was able to move and get out of there, get out of the old place that I was at, while he was prancing around the new woman that he was with. So the whole time he was prancing around the new woman, I was packing my shit, okay? And I was moving. But 2 weeks, I remember I had to wait 2 weeks because I was so nervous, and I was making a big trip because I was like moving states. And I remember the 2 weeks I was like prepared just in case I had to file that restraining order. But because he was so in his own world with this new woman, I was able to get away without having to go through all of that. So yes, you need to keep record of just anything, threats, if he pops up unannounced or anything like that. Like, you need to keep record of things just in case, because you're dealing with a narc and you never know what they're going to do. You don't know what they're going to do until they do it. That's how crazy they are. So
in line, a little bit better organized for myself. And so anyhow, he came out in the middle of that and asked what I was doing. And I just let him know that I was just getting things sorted for when we were able to leave. And he flew off the handle. And let me show you guys this screenshot. So here he is. I am 38 weeks pregnant at this time, and he is giving me a 30-day notice to leave his house.
What? Since you have decided that you're moving out, this ends our current living arrangement. Since you're giving me your 30-day notice, does this mean you will also have your farm stuff moved as well? And then she responds, I didn't give you a 30-day notice. See, this is why you don't tell them nothing, y'all. This is why you don't tell them a thing. You just ghost. And this is exactly the kind of ish I'm talking about. You think sending me a text like that is good for when... I'm assuming that's the typo. As you place excruciating stress continuously on me, I'll be 38 weeks pregnant tomorrow. You are a monster for putting me through such unnecessary garbage. Y'all, I'm telling you, the narcs, they don't care. They don't care about that. They don't care that they're putting you through any stress. They don't care about that.
This was my absolute final straw in this man being able to come to my birth. Like, absolutely not. I was fed up. I was done. And when I went into my next OBGYN appointment, we formulated a plan that he would not be able to come into the room at any state. And there were a lot of precautions put into place for me at that time. And again, they were just so incredibly kind, because I was sobbing. I could not believe that somebody was being this disgusting to me and to their child. I mean, putting me under that level of immense stress, it's absolutely affecting his unborn child. Like, I will never forgive him for this time period. And it's absolutely despicable. And so in the next part, we will go over her birth, and my little girl is finally here. Who the fuck did I almost marry? NFL edition, part 22. The day has come, and I have gone in to be induced for my labor with my baby girl. I went in on April 20th, 2019, and I like to joke that she was either going to be a 420 pop baby or she was going to be a 421 Easter baby that year. So the comparison just kind of cracked me up. I had to have an induction for this particular pregnancy. I'd never had to be induced prior. After my pregnancy with Liam, they found some non-HPV precancerous cells on my cervix, and I had to have a procedure to...
Okay, I was surprised she put name. The baby's name is Ren. I was surprised she left her name in there. I didn't think it was her name, but I was like, I don't know. She's been blocking out the name, so I didn't know.
To get that removed. And unfortunately, this caused a lot of scar tissue. So now my cervix was completely sealed shut with scar tissue. And so the hope was that getting a little bit of Pitocin in my system would help move my cervix along. So Will dropped me off that morning and surprisingly didn't say anything about wanting to stay, because I was really nervous that he was going to try to sway me or anything like that. And just, I'm so thankful he didn't. Unfortunately, though, that did not last long. He sent in one of his flying monkeys to start sending me texts and harassing me as I'm being induced.
Flying monkey.
Let's go to the screenshots. There's a lot more to this conversation, but yeah, it was so unnecessary. And I really did not appreciate this flying monkey coming in and trying to sway me in this situation.
Okay, I'm gonna put two and two together. The flying monkey gotta be the sister, y'all. It gotta be. I'm just gonna start with not him and her. I would be there if I knew ahead of time. Please let him come. I believe in you. I'm telling him to come up there, please. And then she responds, please stop. This is distressing me and it's not wanted or needed at the moment. I don't want to stress you out, I promise. You are though, please just stop. I will. I just wanted him there. I'll stop. No stress. I'm sorry. I love you guys. Thank you.
At that point, I was just an emotional wreck. And so luckily I called in one of my friends and she was able to come in and be a huge support for me during this birth. That was so important to me and absolutely invaluable that I had somebody with me that could.
His mother passed. So that's why I'm assuming it's his sister, but I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm just assuming the flying monkey was his sister.
Support me. So after about 10 hours of nothing still happening to my cervix, they decided that they needed to manually come in and break it apart. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to need an epidural for this because no way do I want to feel any of that. So the anesthesiologist.
Y'all, flying monkey it's an actual narcissistic term, y'all. Come on now. Okay, it's part of narc abuse. It could be it's not she's not being racist. Okay, a flying monkey is part of narcissist. It's a narcissistic term. All right. The fact that I gotta say that is so insane. If you've ever gone through narcissistic abuse, you know what flying monkey means. It's definitely relevant terminology. It's not even a reach at all. Like it's not. It's definitely relevant. Okay, a flying monkey can be a white person. All right, it's not about black people at all, y'all. All right. The girls in the chat, if you've ever dealt with narcissistic abuse, can you help me out, sis? I'm trying to hold it down for us, but I need you to help me out because the girls are like, what? Oh.
Come in. There were two of them and literally, they were in there for well over an hour and they tried to place it. I don't know. It was at least 5 or 6 times. And I don't know what was going on, but just could not get it placed properly and just complete mess in that aspect. But luckily they finally got it set and I was now pain-free so they could get to work on my cervix. And very shortly after that, little baby Ren, my birdie, she was born. This was me. The first time I saw her, I was able to actually catch her and pull her towards me. And I can't even tell you the range of emotions that I was feeling seeing this baby girl after she had been with me for the last 9 months and we had just endured just so much trauma together. I just,
damn.
Like, it was so emotional.
Okay. No, I really think people need to know what the term flying monkey, what it really means. So let me go ahead and take time out to educate. Okay. So the personality of flying monkey, right? Like flying monkeys, when it comes to narcissistic abuse, flying monkeys, narcissists. Okay. Just so you know, but it's basically a person that they enjoy the feeling of being above the person they are persecuting. Okay. So his sister she feels superior to Tori and they help with gaslighting. And it's gaslighting them into believing that they are the toxic one, which is Tori in this situation. Flying monkeys lack empathy, integrity. They have weak wills and only want to keep things the way they are. That's why they're enablers. Okay. They may seek to avoid the wrath of the narcissistic, toxic person. So sometimes flying monkeys literally just keep things kind of simmered and tolerable for the narc to be able to continue to abuse the person that they have been abusing So it just makes things really complicated. That's why I can't stand flying monkeys. Okay. I've had to cuss out a few, if I'm being honest. Okay. Cause you're not about to come at me and insert yourself at me. Like, you're not doing that. You wasn't there. So like, honestly, you may not be able to go off on the narc because you never gonna win that. But the flying monkey, you can really tell them where they can go. Okay, you could tell that flying monkey where they can go. I've cussed them out and blocked their ass after I cussed their ass out. Because why are you coming at me sideways? We don't do that. So no, I cussed out every flying monkey and then I blocked their ass. Because why are you bothering me?
And again, my doctor and all of the women who were in here were just so amazing to me. This is my doctor, and she just came over after Ren was born and gave me the biggest hug. And gosh, I'll forever be thankful for her and how amazing she was to me.
Ooh, really?
Ren was the tiniest of all my babies. She was only 6 pounds and 12 ounces. And I truly do think that the extreme stress of that situation absolutely affected her. And that really kind of breaks my heart. But look at how absolutely precious this little girl was and still is. She is the biggest just ray of sunshine in our lives. And even though her timing was not the best, I'll forever be grateful for this little girl. She's amazing in every single way. So unfortunately, with my traumatizing epidural, I ended up with a spinal leak. And what that entails is basically CSF, cerebrospinal fluid, was leaking out of my spinal column where I had these injections. And when this happens, you end up with severe positional headaches. So anytime that I was a little bit upright, it was this intense headache. So I ended up having to stay in the hospital for, I don't know, it was like 3, maybe 4 extra days. One, they wanted to see if that's what it actually was. And then I had to go in and get a blood patch. And that ends up most of the time fixing the problem. And so that's what ended up happening to me. I had to get the blood patch, and then they wanted to make sure like all was well. As you can imagine, going through these positional headaches and dealing with a newborn, even though I was at a hospital, was still very, very difficult. And it was no different when I got home. A blood patch is not an immediate fix. It takes several days, sometimes even a little bit longer, to get your fluid levels built back up. And wouldn't you know it, the day after I got home, Will leaves back out of town. So here I am recovering from these horrific positional headaches, dealing with a newborn, a 3-year-old, and my older children. What a guy. And unfortunately, things do not get better. We're still stuck in this house. He's making it impossible to leave, and things are about to get even worse. Who the fuck did I marry? NFL edition, part 23. So on August 9th, 2019, we were heading back from Florida after getting my older kids.
Oh.
Will had come with me because obviously Ren is a newborn at this point, so I needed help being able to drive back. So on the way home, we stop at a gas station. I go use the restroom. I like to wipe the toilet seat. Sorry, that's TMI. And as I was leaning over to wipe the seat, liquid dropped out of my nose and onto the floor. And there was somebody in the next stall. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh my gosh, this person thinks that I like just peed on the ground next to her. I was so embarrassed. So anyhow, after this happened, it dawned on me that liquid coming out of my nose had been happening off and on for well over a year. So I did what most of us do, is I ran to Google to try to diagnose myself. So it quickly looked like I had a CSF, again, that's cerebral spinal fluid leak that was coming out of my nose. And so I told Will, and like, he just kind of brushed me off. He was like, whatever. And here he is. This part in the middle is kind of funny because clearly I ignored it. I was like not even touching that. But at the bottom, I had messaged him that's what I thought it was the CSF leak, and he literally ignores. Unfortunately, a CSF leak out of your nose is not a very common thing at all, and it's very hard to find somebody who is even willing to see you because they've never seen it before.
Did he text her y'all, did I read that right? I'm like, I know my eyes are deceiving me. I know I didn't think what I know. I gotta go back. See, y'all, this, yeah. No.
CSF leak, and he literally ignores. Unfortunately, a CSF leak out of your nose is not a very common thing at all. And it's very hard to find somebody who is even willing to see you because they've never seen it before. But luckily I found kind of a world-renowned person in this aspect, a doctor, and I quickly made an appointment to go in and see them. So on August 13th, I go in, he numbs me up and he scopes my nose. He finds a cyst on this side and this sinus cavity, over on this sinus cavity. It was like all kinds of issues. And then as he got to the very top of my sinus cavities, it was like liquid stalactite, like water dripping off of the top of my brain. And it was just drip, drip, drip. Obviously not normal. So I bent over, gave them a sample, and unfortunately those results were inconclusive. The bad thing about CSF liquid is it has to be handled very specifically. It degrades very quickly, and unfortunately got no answers either way on that end. And either way, I needed surgery to fix the cyst and then all the other issues on this side. And if I was still leaking by the time that the surgery rolled around, the way that they handle that is they do a patch and they put it on the roof of your sinus cavity. And having that done requires it's like a 3-4 ICU stay in the hospital. So it's a pretty serious procedure. So making this surgery appointment was a really important process, right? I need to make sure Will's available. I need to make sure if I need the patch that he's able to take care of these kids while I'm in the ICU. So he sits down with me, we make the appointment. He's like, yes, I'm going to be here, yada, yada, yada. And let's see what happens. So October rolls around, and by the time I have my surgery, at that point, I'm not actively leaking. There was no liquid at the top of my sinus cavity, but they were able to take care of the other issues and get me squared away in that way. So I get home and I'm trying to recover as best as I can with, at this point, like a 4-month-old and a 3-year-old and my other kids. And unfortunately, the smoke detector kept beeping. And of course it does, right? Like everybody's smoke detector goes off at the most inopportune times. So I messaged Will to see if he could change the battery in the smoke detector. Let's go to the screenshot. And here's what he had to say. I'll get out of the way so you guys can read.
Okay, about the same as earlier, not a great day. Okay. Can you please take out the battery or do something with the beeping fire detector? It's been waking me up multiple times at night since my surgery. And then he goes, I'll replace it when I get back. I think those 9B aren't holding enough charge. And then she responds, are you getting back tonight? No, I have to go to Chicago. He out cheap. Have meetings all day tomorrow. And then she says, thanks for the heads up on your out of town trip. Didn't know that was a requirement. It should be bare minimum on a co-parent standpoint. I forgot they not together, but he was out there doing his thing, that's what he was out there doing when he was supposed to be helping this woman with the new baby and the 3-year-old and the other kids. Like he knew that. Come on now.
So, yep, he had left town without saying a word and left me all by myself to recover with these kids. So this was several years later. I'll explain what the rest of this is, but you can see the part that I circled that he admits, yep, left the next day. So, and it's bad enough that he does this to me, but to leave his 3-year-old and a 4-month-old with a mother who is like pretty much kind of incapacitated from recovering from surgery is just awful that he would do that even to his own children. This general just lack of care for his kids' actual well-being.
I keep trying to tell y'all, these narcs, they don't feel nothing. All right? I'm telling you, they don't feel nothing. They don't. So it's like at those points where you're thinking, oh, compassion would kick in, consideration would kick in, some type of empathy would kick in. None of that kicks in with them. Okay? So it's like from human to human, right? You would expect that. But when you're dealing with a narc, that connection does not ever kick in for them. They're in their world doing their thing, and it's them. It's me when it comes to these type of people. Okay. So the best thing you could, they don't have a care in the world when it comes to other people. I'm telling you, they really don't. Not their kids, nothing. Honestly, absolutely nothing. Just themselves.
continues on as the series moves forward. And it's pretty sad and it's pretty shocking. In the next couple parts, you'll see him completely start to unravel, and we had to start getting police intervention. Who the fuck did I almost marry? NFL edition, part 24. So on February 8th, 2019, Will purchased me a 12.9-inch iPad, an Apple Pencil, and one of those magic cases that have like the keyboard built in. Okay, so here's the iPad and the stuff.
When you're dealing with a narc, you don't take anything from them, y'all. I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't do it. You want to know why? Look at a string, all right, and think of control. All right. If you take a gift from them, that's the thing that they can use you to control. That's why you don't take nothing from them. You listen, you don't do it. All right. The only reason why they're giving you that gift is so they can control you. That's it. That's it. That's it. It could be a gift. It could be money. It could be a car. It could be a credit card. You don't take anything you don't accept anything from them because it's just to control you. That's really it. That's the only reason why they're doing it. It's not endearing. They weren't really thinking about you. It was just so they could control you. That's it.
Here's my Apple Pencil. He got it engraved with my name. Obviously, very nice gift. So I was really touched when I saw this present, and I found him in the house, and with tears in my eyes, I told him, thank you. Even though we weren't together, it was still nice and it was still appreciated. After Ren was born and I was still being adamant about not wanting to be together, I obviously was still rebuffing any of his advances. And so here is me. This is May 31st, 2019, about a month or so after Ren had been born. And let me get out the way so you guys can read.
Okay, I'm not sure why the bulk of your last paragraph is even being said at the moment. It seriously doesn't pertain to anything I said previously. It pertains in every way because you have expectations of me filling all the gaps. And by the way, the kiss I gave you the other day was saying, thanks for being mommy. See, this man playing games. Actually, I don't expect that at all from you, hence me not coming to you about this. It was a kiss on my lips. Funny way of saying that. Okay, so what are all the boob and butt grabs saying? Question mark. Well, those are ways of being fun, which always have been a way to tell you how you're attractive. And being that you're in the house, I thought it better be more fun than flat, but got it. I'll just stay in my space. Do you do then she asked, do you do those things to blank for Brandy? Or Brandy? Okay, maybe she meant to block that part out. And I'm assuming maybe the other women or the other baby mama.
And his last response to this one.
Well, those are ways of being fun, which always have been a way to tell you how. Oh wait, I already read that. I honestly have no clue, but I guess I was wrong to figure you would enjoy human touch and laughter.
Me rebuffing his advances really hurt his ego and pissed him off. And so from that point forward, he kept trying to steal my iPad back. This became incredibly stressful because I had to watch that iPad like it was a second newborn child.
I told y'all, that's why you don't take nothing from their ass. I told you. So basically he gifted her the iPad because he thought that he was going to be able to eventually sleep with her.
I had to guard it everywhere I went, had to make sure it was by my side or I had it hidden, or it was the most ridiculous song and dance. So on May 31st, later on that night, it was around 9 o'clock or so, Will traps me in my room in a 3+ hour circular conversation hell where he is shifting in and out of wanting my iPad back. Unbeknownst to him, I had it underneath my mattress, in between the mattress and the box spring, and I was sitting on top of it, holding Ren the whole time. She was, I think, 5 weeks old at the time. And he actually goes into a part where he is trying to destroy my bedroom to try to find this iPad. Hold on, because I've got the video. Well, the iPad is a gift.
Where's it?
Yeah.
Where's it?
Just stop. Knock this off. Why? Like, you're being so crazy.
Yeah, you're right. I am. No, where's it?
Stop. I'm trying to get her tonight.
I'm asking you where it is. It doesn't take a minute to say it.
It doesn't matter. It was a gift. You gave it to me as a gift.
And right now, I've given so many fucking gifts that, or that you perceive as gifts because you always have this assumption that I'm just supposed to give you everything or do everything else. Then
that's not even true.
How about you give me the gifts of all the shit you owe me back?
What? That's not how gifts work.
Exactly.
In any court of law, that's not how a gift works.
Exactly.
You give a gift,
so how many times have I not gifted you fucking money that you owe me? How many times have I not gifted shit that I bought for your kids that you fucking owe me?
Oh my gosh, Will. This is crazy. Please.
You're right, I am, but then where's the fucking iPad? I'm making it real simple.
Will, it was a gift.
Where's it at?
It was a gift.
So where's it at? I told you when you get it back, it's your gift. Well, yeah.
A gift that I'm now having to pay you for.
You don't pay me for anything else that you owe me for, so I'm gonna just take the one thing that apparently you seem to need.
Yeah, because you gifted it to me.
You're right. I gifted it to you out of my fucking kindness, right? How many times have you taken advantage of that kindness?
What on earth? Well, you are you are unhinged tonight.
You're right.
Liam needs to go to bed, Will.
Then answer the damn question.
Stop this. Liam, that's stop please. Liam, that's my jammies for tonight, please.
So just answer the question.
Well, it was a gift.
Where's it at?
Stop. I'm not gonna tell you.
1, 2, 3. I'll just turn the whole fucking room over and you can worry about cleaning up later. Would that be better?
Are you even for real? Can you just stop this?
No. I'm done with giving you the shit that you want and then you just fucking taking advantage of me. So no.
How am I even taking advantage of you, Will?
I've explained it multiple times just on that one statement from it.
Oh my God, it is a gift. You gifted it to me.
Gift me the fucking things that you gift and owe me back.
Oh my gosh.
So where's it at?
Liam, please.
Y'all, I gotta be real. Yes, do I feel like she should give the iPad? Yes. But this girl has been through hell. I don't know. It would be like a pride thing. Like, nah, you've been putting me through all of this shit. I'm keeping the damn iPad. It's petty, right? It's petty, but I can see why. It's like she's trying to assert some type of respect by keeping the iPad. You know what I mean? Like it's not the iPad, it's the principle, really. So we're like, yeah, just give the iPad. But like if you went through everything this man put you through, you wouldn't be like, yeah, let me give you the iPad. I wouldn't. I would be thinking back to everything this man had me out here doing. Okay. Did we forget about the farm? Okay. She was the zookeeper, cleaner, sex worker, maid, nanny, real estate agent. Don't forget this man was a coochie crook. She also had to be an event planner, a surrogate, a pharmacist, a chef, a contractor, interior designer, painter, chauffeur, carpenter, baker, psychiatrist. Yeah, like I wouldn't be so quick to give the iPad either, y'all. I mean, I wouldn't. I would not. Mm-mm.
Stop, honey.
No.
So you can just start looking for it.
Stop, Will. Stop.
Let me go.
Stop. Liam is watching this.
I know.
Stop. So as you can see from the timestamp up above, this is from more of the tail end of this circular conversation. By this point, it is midnight on June 21st, the next day. And he had been at this for hours. And I could not move because, again, the iPad is sitting underneath me. And if that's not bad enough, he now gets Liam in on trying to find the iPad with him.
Not in there. No, not in there. Is it over here? Is it over here? I don't know. Is it under here? Oh, you definitely can't see with that.
I'm trying to put her to bed, Will.
And I'm trying to get you to answer a simple question.
No.
So we can all go there.
If you've ever been in a narcissistic conversation, you know how awful and horrible these circular conversations are. They are rehashed conversations that go absolutely nowhere. And it's the same just nonsense that they have been spewing to try to gaslight and manipulate you that you've heard 50 other times. And the fact that he is doing this in front of his 3-year-old is, again, despicable behavior. And not just that, but these poor babies, it's like after midnight. They should have been in bed hours ago. We were all like held hostage. It was awful. So on September 30th of 2019, again, he completely unraveled over the iPad. he was acting really unhinged, and I was standing holding Ren in one arm, and then I had my iPad in the other, and he came up to me and just started like aggressively wrestling with me while I'm holding the baby in my other arm, and aggressively snatched it and then flung my iPad across the room. So at this point, this is my final straw with this iPad. And so I called the police, and I don't do that lightly, like, especially when you've got a Black man in the house. Like, that is not something that I take lightly, but I mean, I'm just completely over it at this point. So cops come over. Unfortunately, they can't really do anything because it kind of becomes like this weird he said, she said business. And there is an incident report on file, though, for this incident. And you know what? He never tried to take my iPad again after this. Thank God. Little did I know, that was not going to be the last time the police were called and came to our house. Who the fuck did I almost marry? NFL edition, part 25. So this is a part that I was going to do after I kind of had told the whole story, but I feel like it's important to tell this part now because I'm getting so many questions on why I just didn't up and leave. And so I really want to break every single bit of that down. So I'm going to be going over the finances that were going on. I'm going to go over all of the background details and also the things that I was doing during this time period in an attempt to get myself out. Okay, so first of all, I want to explain a little bit of just the geography and layout of St. Louis. So St. Louis, the city, is extremely small. It's not a big area at all. So the rest of it is St. Louis County, which is where I was living at the time. So I lived practically almost out of St. Louis County. We were like maybe like 2 minutes from that border. Also, these are some of the wealthier suburbs, and resources like shelters and all of that kind of stuff are not close by to me. Where we lived was a solid at least 45 minutes to an hour drive to St. Louis City, just to give you just kind of an outlook on just kind of that overall picture. And a big reminder, I moved to St. Louis on a relocation. So if I took my kids out of their schools and went to a shelter or went out of state, this would have brought on another court cost. And then I've got a court battle with him as well, with Will. And so here I am, I have like no resources at the time, and dealing with somebody who has resources and a lot of money and you have none is terrifying. It is absolutely terrifying because you cannot protect your children in a situation like that. And obviously protecting my kids was of the utmost priority. Another way these men like to abuse is through the court system. It ends up getting weaponized. So again, it's just not easy just to pick up and leave. Like I stated before, there was constant chaos. It was the animals. We're still working on this.
I tried to tell y'all, I said her situation is real life. It's not a movie, all right? It's real life. It's not as simple as, oh, she can just get up and leave. And that's why I wanted to point that out to you, because before you start having their kids, okay, you need to be thinking long and hard, all right? Before you uproot your life, and if you had prior kids with somebody else, you better be thinking long and hard, because for me, it was simple. All I had to do was pack my shit, right? I'm a single woman with no kids. But if you have kids, or if you have, like she said, her relocation was through the courts, that's way more complicated than if you're just a single woman with no kids. So I need the girls to really write that down, okay? Be cautious when you start to have kids, what it really means, all right? Because that's why she couldn't just freely just move and go. Like, she had a lot going on with that.
This house, there's drop-offs and pickups, because remember, I am not on the bus route. Shortly after Ren was born, I came across another woman at one of the kid events, and she was a realtor, and she was like, I think you would be great in this industry. And for me, I was needing a ton of flexibility because, again, Will was out of town half the time, okay? And a lot of the time, he would not tell me that he was even going out of town until last minute, or even after he had already gone. And he also liked to have a really, really strong leash on the vehicle. He often liked to try to disable me from using it. Let me show you a screenshot. Okay, so this is, again, June 1st. Remember, on that night before, he had kept me trapped in that 3+ hour circular conversation. Part of this conversation was him not wanting me to use the van so my daughter wouldn't be able to attend her dance recital. And I will share the audio on that shortly. I don't want to bog this part down too much, but here were my messages to him, trying to see if I could take the van the next day. So anyhow, started studying for this course, and it was extremely difficult. studying for this test because I was just so broken at this point. And I wasn't retaining information when it came to like the little quiz portions of the module. Like I wouldn't remember. So I'd have to go back and rewatch these sections. And it's so sad because it took me 1,200 hours to do a 48-hour course. Let me show you that screenshot. So here is a screenshot from a Facebook post that I made about this. A lot of my friends had somewhat of an idea that really horrible stuff had been going down. But as you can see, it was February 24th of 2020 when I had finally finished it. And I was really proud of myself because it was so hard to do under that circumstance. Another thing that I ended up doing was reselling. I ended up starting a reselling business during this time. So I would go around the house, find things that were no longer being used, and I would sell them. And, you know, reselling my kids' old clothes and things like that. Unfortunately, anytime I would get money saved up, he would find ways to completely screw me over. So this was a conversation that I had with one of my friends during this time period. And in a moment, I'll show you guys the rest of the conversation. But let me get out of the way so you guys can pause to read.
Okay, so she's saying, Will just screwed me out of $144. How? Liam needed his teeth cleaned and there was a bill. He refused to reimburse me for any of it. Are you kidding me? What was his reason? Trying to say I owe him money. Then she responds, oh my effing God, I worked so hard just to have him do this ish. It's unreal. I'm so sorry. He just such a D. Now he's saying that the kids need to find another way back home because he's selling the van. Okay.
Here's the next part. As you can see, he was threatening to sell the van. Again, this was a very common occurrence. Again, I'll get out the way.
I'm so sorry. Okay. I need to gather myself, but God, I can't do this much longer. Girl, there's no way you can do this much longer. Do not respond to his selling the van ish. He's baiting you. I didn't. He walked away right after anyway. And then she responds, you can, the friend responds, you cannot keep doing this. He's pulling the rug out from underneath you. She responds, I know. Anything you work for, he's taking. It's awful. How can he feel okay about taking from you is unbelievable. It's just to try to keep you dependent. Yep.
And then the rest of it. And as you can see at the bottom, I just was like, I feel like I'm just completely breaking. Like this was all just so unbearable. Anytime I felt like I could sock away anything, like I was being constantly drained. So a lot of times he was abusing me through the gas. He would have me do errands for him on the gas and then would make a big deal about not wanting to reimburse me or help pay for the gas. And I'm sure some people would be like, why did you do errands for him? If I didn't, he was going to lash out and make life horrible. You know, it's so hard to tiptoe through these situations and you're just trying to do your best to stay afloat and minimize what you can. So here's an example of one of those. He's wanting me to get items for him and go take them to his ex-wife's house. So another way that he was abusing me was wanting me to get items for him and go take them to his ex-wife's house.
So he goes, can you please grab 2 pair of sweats and boxers, t-shirts, socks, and a hoodie for me and drop it off after school. My flight just got canceled and I'm trying to get rebooked, but everything is effed from this storm apparently. And blank, I'm assuming iPad, which is in her room charging. And then she responds, I'm not at the house, already left to get kids. I'm not following where you are wanting this dropped off at, but you could do it after choir concert. And then she responds, okay, van also needs gas. It's at a fourth of a tank right now.
So another way that he was abusing me was not buying things for Liam and Ren like he should have been. He did buy a lot of Ren's diapers, but almost nothing else for her. So I was having to buy all of her shoes, all of her clothes, all of her gear, like everything. And same with my son. And getting him to do things for them was almost impossible. He would say that he would reimburse me for something. Like there were shoes that I had bought for Ren that he had said that he was going to reimburse me. So I went ahead and bought them and then he would refuse. He also, once I did start reselling, he would do laundry and destroy the items and not reimburse me for that as well. He was doing everything he could to trap and keep me there. These were items that I was trying to get him to repay that he never did.
Now, I'm going to say it again. Do you see why you leave and you don't threaten a man before you leave? You just disappear. This is why, ladies, you never tell. I just had this conversation in a mentor session I think it's been about maybe 2 weeks. You never tell them anything. You disappear. She wouldn't be going through half of this stuff if she would have just disappeared, okay? Or played along with it. And that's the thing. Sometimes you may have to like play along with it until you're able to stack your money. And I'm gonna be real transparent. And some of y'all are gonna be like, what? You may even have to continue to lay down with him. Yeah, I said it. Yep, I said it. If you know you don't have any financial backing, listen, you got to do what you got to do. We talking about survival. I said it. Okay. The worst thing you could ever do, and that's some real ass advice. And the reason is because you have to keep everything normal. Okay. So you can't stop everything that you were doing prior. So that would be part of it, unfortunately. And so because of that, it will give you more time to strategize and really get things going financially, because that was the whole issue here. She didn't have any stability on her own. She was not independent. And see, this is why I be saying the things I be saying, but the girls be getting mad at me because it does not feed their fantasy. You don't want a man paying for everything, because if you don't know, when things are great, but when things are bad, you don't know if a man is going to do right by you until you know. And so you never want to put yourself in a position as a woman where your back is up against the wall and then you don't have any choices. You don't have any choices for yourself, and you don't have any choices for your kids. So you always want to have some type of motion, some type of money flow coming in. He can pay for the bulk of everything, but you still need to have some type of money coming in, because come on. And then this is him requesting. It looks like this is on Venmo. So she's been sending him requests to pay for this, gas. Let's see. So she can try to get her money back up. So she can try to get her money saved, or keep the money that she's been making saved.
And there's way more of these. On Venmo, he ignored it, never paid. Before I share this next part, it's an audio. I just wanted to give a quick background info so you can understand what is going on in this. Will had bought his oldest daughter a $1,200 Australian Shepherd dog. And he also bought private training lessons for this dog as well. So that's kind of what is going on in this. And I'm having to beg for a $20 haircut for my son.
You don't think that I'm like sitting here looking at Liam's hair the other day and go, yeah, he needs a haircut. But I gotta go, all right, let me make sure I pay the water, I pay the lights, I got this, I gotta make sure.
No, but when you're paying for private dog lessons,
guess what though? Hold on. So in the same vein, you're paying for an extra dance lesson for Katie, you're taking her and doing that, right? So should I take my commitment away from my daughter the same way?
Oh my gosh, but Will, when Liam
am I taking my commitment away from my daughter?
We're talking a $20 haircut for Liam. Why is Liam not getting that same commitment from you?
He is.
Why is?
But guess what? You know what the real is? I really didn't want him to get that haircut.
So his son couldn't get his haircut because he's trying to punish her and by using the child. Oh, this is so sick. So his son can't get a haircut because he's really trying to punish her. So her son gets neglect, and then he's treating his other children better.
At that time, I was like, I kind of want to see how this goes for a little bit more. But it doesn't matter what I say, again, because just like when he got his first haircut, I was like, no, I want to let it grow a little more. I want to let it grow. And you literally just took him and said, fuck you, I'm going to go get his haircut.
You knew about the haircut.
No, I knew after you'd already scheduled it.
Yeah, when it was scheduled, but you were invited for that day.
But the point is, so I'm supposed to just do what you want? And this is our kid, right? This is our son. So I'm just supposed to just lay down the law when I have no opinion in it?
Well, when his hair is shaggy and it's in his eyes.
And I said this too. I said, okay, but I want his hair to keep growing a little longer. So it doesn't matter what my point is, though. So instead, when I got that message I just scheduled Liam a fucking hair point. So, okay, let me go ahead and do some shit like that with Katie or one of them, right? Let me go ahead and just schedule some shit because I feel like they need it.
This was Liam's hair during this conversation. So it just so weird. Meanwhile, he's making big purchases for himself. Here's one. This was from that Thanksgiving receipt debacle that I found. And here's another one. There's a bunch of these kinds of things, but he was doing all kinds of spending on himself while trying to say he couldn't afford to do like tiny little basics. Meanwhile, he's sending me these kinds of messages with the gas money he'd send me on Venmo. Who the fuck did I almost marry? NFL edition, part 26.
Wait a minute.
I just want to.
Please note that a receipt is to be provided and that by accepting these funds, you agree to repay them within 30 days. This man is, ooh, girl. Within 30 days or accept accruing interest. So this is financial abuse, ladies. We always talk about getting the bag from these men, but that's what it looks like to be financially abused when you don't have your own money. $50. And remember how he got this woman, right? Remember when he was flying her out and he was whining and dining her, flew out her other kids that she had from her previous relationship, her previous marriage, and then flew out her family. And now $50. Ooh, yeah. That's why I'm never impressed by men with money. Never impressed by a man with money. I don't give a damn about that shit at all. And this is why. This is a great example of why.
Meanwhile, he's sending me these kinds of messages with the gas money he'd send me on Venmo. Who the fuck did I almost marry? NFL edition, part 26. I just want to put a little PSA at the beginning of this, and I already know that there's going to be some flack based on reactions from previous videos that have kind of been in this vein, but again, please remember, we are out soon, and I'm sharing these to show how despicable and deplorable his behavior has been throughout this. Please remember, we have been out for years, and I am sharing his unhinged behaviors, and remember, this is not normal, and it's not okay that he's acting this way. So about a week and a half before I had my sinus surgery for the CSF leak, this was, again, October 2019. The high school that my kids were zoned for and that one of his older girls was going to at the time was having their homecoming parade. And my middle daughter had a performance with her dance team in the parade as well. So we all went to this parade and we took 2 different vehicles to get there. I can't remember exactly why we were in 2 different vehicles. He might have had something previously, but that's what it was. It was 2 different vehicles. So we got home a little bit before he did. And when I got home, I realized that I had accidentally blown a circuit breaker with one of the space heaters. So I went to go get Ren situated. I was still nursing her at this time. And I asked my son if he could go down to the basement so that way he could just, flip the switch and get it situated for me. So Will sent me a message that he was already home and that he was going to go down and flip this circuit breaker for my son and go ahead and take care of it. So my son started to go upstairs. So before he got to the stairs, we have our cat, Ash, aka Ashhole, and he attacked my son's leg. He got the name Ashhole for a very specific reason. He can be a jerk. So anyhow, my son grabbed one of those like little knit mittens. It's like practically like a sock, right? And he tossed it at the cat to get the cat to knock it off. So he goes upstairs and Will had seen this go down. And for whatever reason, this flipped something in Will and he just completely went off. So I'm down in my bedroom, which is back behind the kitchen. And the next thing I know, I start hearing Will completely going off and being completely unhinged. He's yelling and screaming, "Fuck you, I'm going to beat the shit out of you." At the time, I had no clue what was going on or what was even triggering this. Like, I didn't even know who it was directed at. So I rush upstairs with Ren and find Will towering over my 12-year-old son, screaming horrifically in his face, just totally just bowed up over at my son. This big, huge linebacker over this poor little middle school boy. It was so unnecessary and so uncalled for. And he just continues to get more and more and more unhinged. And I'm trying to de-escalate the situation.
Yeah, what is up with the animals? That has always been a question throughout this entire thing. And then I don't know. It's something with the animals, y'all. And probably him seeing that interaction. I don't know. Like, did he have something weird going on in his childhood with the animals? It's just something about that that's just really weird to me.
And this goes on for at least 30 minutes. He would start to calm down and, then he would ramp back up. And got to a point where he started grabbing items from my son's closet and started tossing them out of his room, saying that he was going to move them to the room he felt he deserved, which no clue what that meant. Honestly, I think it was more about just him having control over the situation, because at the beginning when we had moved over to Broke Down Palace, all the kids had picked out their own room. So everybody was pretty much happy and settled with the rooms that they had. So he was just being cruel and ridiculous to my son in the situation. And at that point, my son had had enough and he called the cops on Will. So the police come, they talk to everybody separately. Will admits that he went overboard, but unfortunately, since he did not actually put his hands on my son, there was nothing that the police could do. But again, this is all filed with the police department, and yeah, just completely and utterly unnecessary. Luckily, this was the last time that we had to call the cops on him, because I mean, just absolutely ridiculous, unhinged behavior that is scary and completely unnecessary. Here is an audio clip that was home for my daughter. I got it from her the other day. Obviously, this is not the entire argument, but you can see how unhinged he is. And he ended up coming back in afterwards and trying to start all of this back up again, and then stealing, and then taking the items out from the closet. And finally, my son, he had completely had enough.
Hello, there's a fight, so.
Will, stop it. Will, do we need to, seriously, if you're going to continue this, do we need to call the cops? Because we're not playing this.
Do it. Come on. You did it the other day. You didn't want to tell me
Because you snatched my iPad from me.
Yeah, I snatched your iPad when I was
Just
going to go
stop.
get a fucking cup of coffee to throw in the sink is what it was.
Stop.
And you decided what I was doing. So like shit, fine, I'll take the fucking iPad. But you need to cut your shit out.
Go up at my child.
Like he's a grown ass man too. Because I told him that before. Your son has come to me and told me he was going to beat the shit out of me before. Shut the hell up.
Here, you're not going to talk to my child like this.
You need to tell the fucking truth.
Stop. Stop.
Don't point the finger at me.
Stop.
When don't point the finger
It's
at
the
me.
fucking truth. That's the problem.
You're the psychotic one.
I'm the psychotic.
Will, can you please just leave him alone?
You please stop this shit. First of all, I will leave you alone
No,
when
stop.
you learn to actually fucking talk.
Get into bed. Like,
There's none of that beginning now.
like, it's just unreal. And in front of your child, like, Will, like, you've got to stop.
And you get your shit in order.
I know, but
Hey.
no, Will, go.
No, you did.
No, you
You and you, the next time you leave the damn recycling it and don't fucking take it out every day, we're gonna have another problem.
Stop.
You get all your shit in order. Oh, thank you for getting all the closet cleared out. I'm glad you're getting your shit put away. We're good there. You don't fucking turn on another computer or anything else until I get back. Or at least until you can talk to me like a real fucking adult. Is that understood? Is that understood? Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
So, Kate, the other thing I want you to do, since I'm in this mode right now, clean up Lane's room, get your room straight so I can get that cleared out. I told you this 5 times, and you know what I get out of you every time? Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it, okay. Okay, I'll do it. That's not going to work.
She did pick up Lane's room.
Okay, I haven't been over there since, and I don't even know how long. So I'll go back through it, and that's fine. But her room needs to be next, so we can get all that done. Just like I cleaned out the closet because you said you needed to put everything away. So you can get downstairs, clean up, right? I'm done that.
There was one more.
Ladies, this woman don't have no money. I keep trying to tell y'all that. This woman don't have no money. She don't have no help. She don't have no money. She don't have no money for a babysitter. Have you watched? A great example of this is Made on Netflix. If you want to know what financial abuse, what it really looks like, Made on Netflix is a great show for you to watch. Okay? And it's crazy that the girls are not getting it. The girls are not getting it, but want to quickly sign up for this lifestyle. The girls are not getting it. All right? She don't got no money. The only way she can get money is through him. The only way she can pay someone to help her, she would still have to get money through him. It doesn't seem like her family was helping her. It doesn't seem like her friends were helping her as much as she needed help, you know? So she's stuck like Chuck. Literally. She is stuck like Chuck until she can get some money flow. So until she can get some real money flow, she is stuck with this. She's stuck. And this is the case for a lot of women. Okay? Financial abuse is a real thing.
Or incident around Christmas of 2019 that was a little bit like this, and I'll go into that in the next part. Who the fuck did I almost marry? NFL edition, part 27. So on December 26, 2018, my older kids flew back in from Florida for visiting their dad. And so I went to the airport to pick them up. The whole plan for that day was to do Christmas with them. And for whatever reason, Liam was dead set on having a feast. He had really loved his Thanksgiving feast. And so he was really looking forward to having a turkey with all of the trimmings again for Christmas. So we come back, Will starts prepping the turkey. He wanted to fry this turkey. So me and the older kids started opening their presents because we had already done our presents the day before. And suddenly there is somebody pounding on our back door, screaming that it's an emergency. So we go out there and the whole basketball hoop is just in flames with the turkey fryer also in flames.
Oh my God.
So the neighbor had called the fire department. Luckily, they literally were like just catty corner from our street. So they were able to get there relatively quickly. And so Will immediately starts tossing flour on the fire, trying to get it out. And he actually does end up getting this fire out before the fire department even gets there. I had filmed this just for documentation purposes because in these situations, you never know what could be in handy later on down the road when you are actually out and free. So he sees me filming and he is pissed that I am filming. I think that this incident kind of embarrassed him and bruised his ego and he was not happy. So he sees me filming, comes inside, and the video that you guys didn't see in this was he literally violently shoves me. I say, hey, and he's like, what are you doing? Come help. I'll share this video in a minute. And it's like, what am I going to do? I'm not going near this thing. Absolutely not. And again, fire trucks were on the way if he had not gotten it out. Now I'm going to share these videos and you guys.
Did y'all not see this woman ask for $50? Does that sound like a woman that has many options? She's trying to save her money. I don't understand. What's not clicking, Steven? What's not clicking? You have to have money. You have to have money. For you to make a move, for you to make a boss move, like move your children, we're not talking about a one child or two. We're talking about, I think they had a total of, I think she had a total of 5 kids that she would have to move. That's not easy when you don't have any money coming in. What's not clicking? And the reason why I'm really highlighting this is because so many women want a man to provide for everything, but when you do that, right, it really puts you in a position to where you can easily be abused, controlled, things that you would have to tolerate that you may not have to tolerate if you had your own money. So that's what I don't get that.
You guys get to see them yourselves.
Stop recording, do you?
What do you want me to do? Stop.
No, you can't. Let's go.
What do you want me to do? Needless to say, the turkey went completely uncooked and Will went to the store to get a rotisserie chicken and some more flour. I finished the rest of the Christmas feast with the kids. And when it was done, I let him know that dinner was finished and he did not want to eat. He was pouting down in the basement. We did not see him for the rest of this evening. After he went from the basement, he went up to his room and just holed himself up there. The next morning, he was in a completely pissy mood. He was still pissed off that I had filmed him in this incident. Liam and Ren had a doctor's appointment that day around 4:30. And so afterwards, we went to Red Robin to eat and then came home. We got back to the house and immediately he starts getting pissy. He's upset about Christmas. He's upset that the house is messy because that's what it is after Christmas. And he just starts ranting and raving at everybody. He had gone downstairs to the basement and had grabbed this huge box. He came upstairs to the main floor. We're in the living room, and as soon as he sees us, he takes this huge box and he chunks it at my oldest son. I told him he was being inappropriate, and he starts yelling at me, saying that I was inappropriate filming him yesterday. My older son at this point started being like, Will, you need to knock it off. You're not going to treat my mom this way. And so Will, again, went up this far away from his face, bowed up over him like he was going to fight him. When I told him to knock it off, that he was not going to treat my child this way, he got up in my face and began to scream at me. After that, he went behind my oldest daughter, the one who unfortunately had tried to unalive herself. He put his hands on her shoulders and she was just standing there like, she was so uncomfortable. And she kept saying, please remove your hands, please remove your hands. And he's just like, no. Luckily, after that, he stormed off and again, holed himself down in the basement and stayed there for the rest of the evening. Obviously, Liam and Ren were present during this as well. And again, this kind of behavior is completely unacceptable and it's completely unhinged. And here is a conversation that I had with a friend at the time. I will get out the way so you guys can read.
Okay, so she goes, Will lost his ish again tonight, and then over what? Same ish as yesterday. He threw a box at David and then started in on me. David told him to stop, and he got all up in his face and then got all up in mine, then kept putting his hands on Peyton's shoulders, which he was repeatedly told not to do, and she was terrified. Over the turkey-ish, yep. Why did he involve Pay? No clue. I felt so bad, like she was so incredibly uncomfortable. So what happened? How did it end? She's saying I wasn't going to get into it with him. She stated the facts and told him I wasn't interested in getting into any more with him, I'm assuming. Let's see if she keeps going.
And another part.
So she's saying I wasn't going to get into it with him. I stated the facts and told him I wasn't interested in getting into any more with it. He said not to ask him for anything. I reminded him I hadn't, which threw him way off because it's true. So he then said to Peyton to make a note because I was going to, and then he stormed off. I'm acting like I'm completely okay and going on about myself. I refuse to let him see me bothered by him. Facts. Now he's downstairs trying to hang out with me and Pay in the living room. And then her friend goes gag, like so effing disgusting. No doubt he's seriously the worst. It's gross how he blows up to David and to me in our faces. And then the friend responds, it really is.
And another part. In the next part.
Let me see. And then let me see. So then she goes, let me see. So she goes, no doubt, he's seriously the worst. It's gross how he blows. Okay, I already read that.
And another part.
Okay, so then she responds, it really is. Okay, that's where the friend left off. It really is like 2 inches from our faces screaming, and Ren tested positive for RSV. Ooh, that's really bad for small babies. RSV is really bad for small babies, y'all.
In the next part, we are now in March of 2020, and it really hits the fan. Who the fuck did I almost marry? NFL edition, part 28. So on March 3rd, 2020, that morning, got up, took my older kids to school, had Ren strapped in the seat right behind me. Remember, we are a 12-passenger van, so there's 3 back rows. And then Liam was strapped in his car seat in the very back row. He loves sitting back there. As I was coming home, I had gotten to where our road was, but the oncoming traffic was really, really busy, and it's just a 2-lane road. So I was just sitting there, and I was just waiting to be able to turn. Behind me, I could see somebody coming, and let me grab a picture so you can kind of understand what the whole scene looks like. Here's a picture standing on my road looking the opposite way that I was coming. So where that fire truck is where the fire department is. So when I said it's just around the corner from my house, that is where the fire department is. So anyhow, as you can see, this road has a downward slope, and I'm sitting pretty close, waiting to turn. So as this person,
let me go ahead and address this. If y'all wouldn't police content creators so much, because I just got into it just yesterday. I gave constructive criticism in my last video, and you know what happened? I had people policing me. I got a long email. Should I pull it up and start reading it after I did my last reaction? This is why you shouldn't police content creators. Let's talk about it. Since this don't have nothing to do with this woman's skin color. I got a long ass email yesterday, and you know what it was titled? No, not yesterday, the day before, right after I did my live. You know what it was titled? Let me pull it up. I got a long email, and it was titled Coddling Victims. It was a woman that told me that we should coddle victims. And it was crazy because I never said in my video that we should be mean to victims. I never said anything about that. I said we shouldn't coddle women. But she took that as we shouldn't coddle, we should coddle victims. And I never said anything I never said anything about victims. I said we should not coddle women. So if I'm tiptoeing around tonight, it's because of that. So this is why you shouldn't police content creators. That's why. It don't have nothing to do with her skin color. It had everything to do with that. So I'm going to just start blocking people. That's what I'm about to start doing. I'm going to just start blocking people. Because it's like, I can't say anything. I can't do anything. Anytime you try to hold a woman accountable, there's a woman complaining about it. So it's like, do you want me to say something or do you not want me to say something? Because it's annoying.
Is coming down the hill. I can see them and they're getting closer and closer and closer and they're not stopping. So I was kind of like, pumping my brakes without moving, hoping that they would see that I was sitting there and there was nowhere for me to go. And so unfortunately, I was just kind of a sitting duck. And the person unfortunately didn't see me until literally like right before, and they did a slight turn and just plowed right into the back of the van. There weren't even skid marks on the road. Like they didn't even barely break at all. It was insanely traumatizing. And so as I'm sitting there, the impact of him slamming into me, keep in mind, he was going at least 60 miles per hour. It jolted me into oncoming traffic. And at this point, like everything for me goes gray. Like it's like everything is just like fuzzy and gray. And as I crossed, and thank God nobody from oncoming traffic hit me. That was like a small miracle in itself. And Ren instantly starts hysterically crying. She's about 9-10 months old at this point. And so we dart across the road and hit this patch of grass, and I like come to, and my steering is out, my brakes are out. Like I can barely control this thing. And we're going and we're going. And we almost hit a pole, and I'm like getting everything I can to like move this car. And then we almost hit a tree, and I'm turning and trying to get this car to respond. And somehow we end up completely turned around, and I am now facing this car that is completely destroyed, and I'm now facing it. So here is what my tire tracks look like in this patch of grass. So as you can see, I've got my tire tracks, it loops around, and then I almost go back into the road. And this was now my view. And here's a little bit closer up so you can see. I mean, this was just absolute insanity. So like I said, at the moment of impact, Ren was absolutely hysterical. And Liam was just so silent. And when I got the car stopped, I just remember like being terrified to turn around because I had no clue like what anything was going to look like. And I turned around, and thank God he was completely okay. But God, that like those few seconds were utterly terrifying. So I call 911 first, and then I call Will, and I'm trying to get a hold of him, and he's not picking up. So of course he's out of town. And so I messaged him, and he messaged back, just trying to get some information. And a little bit more of this conversation. Okay, so he says he has to get back in this meeting, meaning he stepped out of this meeting, but still didn't call us. I will touch on insurance in the next part because it is a complete shit show all on its own. In fact, Will doesn't call the entire time, which, I mean, at this point, is this really even any surprise? Instead, see right below me, he said he checked in with his dad last night while I was at the hospital getting checked out. So I was unable to get checked out until later that evening. One, because I'm with my kids. I have nowhere to take them at that moment. My older kids ended up walking from their school to a friend of ours' house that wasn't too far away. That friend came to my house, picked me and the kids up, took me to their house. They grabbed the babies, and then I went off to the ER to get checked out. So while I was there, it was discovered that I had a severe concussion, and I had also fractured my sternum from the impact with the seatbelt. My airbag never deployed, which is kind of a random thing you'd think with an impact that hard it would, but it didn't, and instead cracked my sternum. Later on, I was diagnosed with all kinds of other stuff, but they only ran x-rays while I was there at the ER. So all of that was kind of a discovery process for later. I was later diagnosed with multiple bulging and herniated discs all up and down my spine, lumbar stenosis, because my spinal column completely collapsed in my lower lumbar. And even one of my vertebrae got knocked out of place. So it was pretty severe, and it's unfortunately kind of a little bit of life-altering issues. And as you can imagine, that sternum fracture was so painful for the first month. It was bad. So while I was at the ER getting checked out, Pops, Will's dad, took the kids from a friend's house back to our house. And so I drove my friend's van from the ER back to my house. The next morning, his dad did take the kids to school, which I was thankful for. And Liam and Ren ended up having their own doctor's appointments later on that day. When I went to load up the kids for this appointment, I quickly realized their car seats were not around. They had been taken with me and my friend when we were going over to her house so I could go to get checked out at the ER, but I could not find them at the house. So I called his dad, tried to find out, hey, are they in your vehicle? Like, I don't know what's going on. And anyhow, I quickly discovered he had left them at our friend's house. Yep, he had taken two kids who had just been in a severe car accident home in no car seats. A 9 to 10-month-old baby and a 3-year-old little boy, no car seats for a 15, 20-minute drive. I wish I was kidding. And here's the message with my friend trying to see if they were at her house, and yeah, they were. To me, this was just beyond negligent, and yeah, it gets me a little hot even talking about this now because it just, wow. So anyhow, I ended up having to wait for Pops to get back because he had to go get the older kids from school. Then I had to get the car seats. I put them in myself with a broken sternum, no help from him, and we ended up being 45 minutes late for their appointment. Luckily, they checked out okay, but just everything is constant chaos. Got home, I had to feed everyone. Pop sat down, didn't help at all. I think this runs in the family at this point. Yeah. Will didn't even message me the next morning until I had reached out about how their appointments had gone. I will never understand not having actual care for your kids in that way. But this is only one aspect of the accident. Like I said, the insurance was a complete shit show all on its own. Who the fuck did I almost marry? NFL edition, part 29. So in the last part, we were in a car accident, and soon after we were hit, I asked Will about insurance because I could not find in our emails or anything like that where I had put the digital card. I let him know that the only card that I could find was from early 2019. So I was trying to find some kind of updated card, and he let me know that it was still the same, which was a USAA policy. So after me and the kids got home after the car accident, I was on the phone several hours with USAA trying to figure out what was going on with the insurance, because they had told me there was no active policy. And here's this conversation. You get out of the way so you can see. So instead, he kept stringing me along all day long. And here we are. It is now 5:50 on March 3rd, the day we were hit. And I ask, what's the update on insurance? And he says, I'm not covered. The renewal was out around Liam's birthday. Liam's birthday is in January. And he said he was wrapped up in everything else. But you know what's wild? In my snooping, when I was going around trying to find things after the accident, I found another insurance policy. Let's pull it up. So here it is. March 6th, several days later, I find a Progressive policy. Yeah, he didn't have USAA. Go figure. Go figure. And you know what? It had lapsed February 20th. What, just a handful of days prior to my car accident. And also, it did not lapse around the time of Liam's birthday. My opinion, he already knew that it was lapsed. Here he was trying to pass off a USAA policy, and if it was actually Progressive, he would have actually called them, not calling USAA. I don't believe that phone call ever took place. Obviously, I'll never know, but I mean, not one single bit of that adds up. Also, in my snooping, I found a letter saying that his renewal was coming up. And guess what? He ignored it. So here I was. I had no insurance on my side now. Trying to get a rental car or anything else situated for me was incredibly difficult. And as you can imagine, I'm hurting, I'm in pain, and here I am having to deal with the nonsense of this whole insurance issue caused by him. He says he has no clue how I'm going to get a rental car. No clue. I also had co-pays for the kids' doctor appointments that were coming up. I also needed to fill up our friend's van because I'm certainly not going to return a car with lowered gas, like I'm going to give it back to them with a full tank as a kind person does. Getting responses and answers out of him was like pulling teeth. It was incredibly ridiculous. And again, this isn't just for me. This all impacts his children as well. So by the grace of God, I was able to negotiate with the person who hit me's insurance for them to get me a rental car. But I needed a new updated insurance card to be able to actually drive the rental car. And here's this conversation. We're now on March 6th, 2020. I'll get out of the way so you guys can read. He never ended up furnishing an updated insurance card. So I, out of my own pocket, had to spend $17 a day to be able to get this rental car. And here we are on March 8th, trying to get like some kind of reimbursement back from him. He's asking me to go pick up hot dogs and bread and refusing to pay any of this. After this, I got a message from the insurance company on March 9th, and they said that our van was completely totaled. Even though our impact didn't look horrible, and it certainly didn't look anything like the other guys, but it completely warped the frame, so it had to be totaled. And trying to get information out of Will during this time period was awful. I was trying to figure out, what is going on for me? Like, what is the status on my vehicle out at the farm? Because if I now need to drive this, like what's going on with it? And two, if it's getting totaled, are you buying another car? And it was just, again, like pulling teeth, trying to get answers and trying to get anything sorted for me. And it just felt unnecessarily cruel. And so on March 12th, 2020, the kids and I flew down to Florida for spring break. Yes. And during that week, the whole world shuts down for COVID. Stay tuned. Who the fuck did I almost marry? NFL edition, part 30. Pardon the swimsuit. I have my kids this week. Don't worry, they are not in earshot. They're outside playing right now, and we are fixing to go to the pool. But that way I could get this whole story running. I know everybody's dying to find out what happened. Now we're down in Florida. And I also wanted to add, my mother had bought these tickets for us. It's not like I was all of a sudden magically able to purchase and pay for these tickets myself. So she is disabled. She has muscular dystrophy. And it was a lot easier for the kids and I to go visit her than her come up to see us. And also I get a lot of questions asking about, well, where's your family? I'm an only child. I have a disabled mother. Just be kind and remember that not everybody has people who can swoop in and come assist. But anyhow, she had not seen Ren yet. And that was a big part of why we had gone down to Florida. So as we were there that week, literally very quickly, the entire world shuts down. And again, one of the only things that had gotten me through the situation with Will while we were still living there is that he was not there half the time. And so the thought of now being holed up in a house with him 24/7 was terrifying. So as the situation was unraveling, Will and I were absolutely in contact on what to do, how to handle this, because everybody was in brand new territory with COVID. And obviously on my end, I did not tell him that my reason for not wanting to come back was him. But we had both decided by March 21st that I would at least stay until the 5th. Let me get out the way, pause to read. And he even sent down 2 boxes in the month of March to get my kids situated so they could do online school for the rest of the school year. Let me get out the way. By this point, the trauma appointments that I had scheduled after my ER visit, all of those had been canceled. So I was now having to find care in Florida, which I was able to do. I started getting my ball rolling. That was a big reason why I personally wanted to stay in Florida. Was obviously he's shown me repeatedly I cannot count on him. And I desperately needed to get some medical care. So I was doing that. Will was welcome to come down anytime he wanted. Even though my mother, she had, like I said, has advanced muscular dystrophy, and we had to take some pretty strict precautions to keep her safe. The only thing I ever asked him was, you're welcome at any time, but please just quarantine to keep my mom safe. In those initial few months of COVID, he actually moved his nephew into Breakdown Palace without saying a word to me. We actually found out through one of his older girls that he was now living there, which was very shocking. And nothing against the nephew. I think he's a nice guy. I personally have never had any issues with him. But if we had moved back, there's a guy in the house that I never agreed to, right? And I would have to be sharing a bathroom with him, which, like, as a female, like, that's just not great. And this is his sister's son. And again, not touching that situation with a 10-foot pole. So by the summer of 2020, we had decided that the kids would go virtual school for the next school year. So Will on his end was gathering Chromebooks, he was gathering supplies, he was picking them up from their school, and he gathered all of these items, put them in a box, and mailed them to us so they could be able to do virtual school in Florida. This box also contained items that the kids wanted that they were just missing from Broke Down Palace, and the box was huge. And when it arrived, everybody was stunned. Hold on. And this is what this package arrived looking like. Literally no tape down the center seam. How this got through the post office, I will never know. But my Ray-Ban glasses and my poor Apple Pencil were not in the box. I don't know if it fell out, if he didn't put it in there. No clue, but it did not make it to our end. And he threw everything in this box haphazardly. And my son's Chromebook was in there and it got utterly damaged. And I'll get out the way so you guys can see. And I don't think any of us by this point are surprised that he sent a box looking like that to us. It's very on brand at this point. So anyhow, we had to mail back the Chromebook. He had to get the Chromebook, take it to school, get a replacement Chromebook, send it back to us. So this was a lot of work and effort from him. And even as late as October 30th, he had picked up a packet for one of my kids and again, mailed that down to us so they could do their virtual schooling in Florida. Again, Will had an open door to be able to come whenever he wanted. The very first time he came to visit was September 30th. Quite a ways. I think that was the only time he came to visit that entire year, and it was completely wide open, I think. So anyhow, on that trip, he tries to grope me, he tries to kiss me, and I'm like, yeah, you're not gonna touch me. And of course, this pisses him off. In fact, while we were down in Florida, he had tried several times to reach out to me specifically. I don't know what made Cinco de Mayo so special to try to reach out to just me, but I never called him back. And here he is again, trying to get back with me. As you can see, I'm just like, come see your kids, but this is not about me. I don't care. I'm neutral if you come. Did not matter to me. So Christmas rolled around, Christmas of 2020, and obviously invited him, the girls, see if they wanted to come down for Christmas. Instead, he sent presents for me, my kids, and obviously our kids together. So here is the info on this. Sent me the tracking numbers, and the stuff came. Get out the way. My Christmas present from him was a brand new pair of Ray-Bans and a $300 Victoria's Secret gift card. What a present to send your ex. Little did I know that Christmas, but he had filed for custody and was now accusing me of kidnapping the kids. Stay tuned. Who the fuck did I owe?
So I didn't keep up, y'all. I walked away, so I don't even know what's going on. So I'll just catch you for part 3. We will be wrapping up this series. I had to step away because like the policing, y'all, it just makes me not even want to do this no more. Like, honestly, it's not fun. It's actually emotionally taxing when it doesn't matter what you do. Somebody is always complaining. And then I have to get emails. I get trolls. I get all of this shit. And then people wonder why I'm putting shit on Patreon. I'm putting shit on Patreon to protect my peace. Like, this stuff is really not worth the money. If you think getting with a rich man is worth the money. If I say getting with a rich man is not even worth the money, this shit is not worth the money either. It's really not. It's really not. Like, it's just annoying. So I had to step away. I'm not about to go off on people that haven't done anything to me. It's just annoying. So I'm logging out. I'll just catch up on this later. And then I'll make sure to give a little bit of commentary based off of whatever happened after I left. I'll have to watch it back. And we'll just go from there. So if you're wanting to know why content creators are putting things behind a wall, it's not because of money. It's literally to protect our peace. It's really not worth putting ourselves out here on a public platform just to be policed with every little thing. So even yesterday, or no, not yesterday, the day before, when I reacted to the first part, I had people complaining about how I said this and I said that, and it just gets annoying. So then this live, it's, you're not holding this white woman accountable. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. And it just gets exhausting after a while. So That's all I'm going to say. Y'all enjoy the rest of your nights, and I hope to catch you in part 3. Part 3 will be the last of this series and this story on my platform. Good night.